Okay, welcome back to part 2. Let's talk about Meepo Cinderman.
Yes.
So Scepter rework, the old one just added another Meepo, which people stopped building actually for the last year or so. Now grants a new skill called Dig. Clones also have this ability. Channels for 0.75 seconds and digs into the ground for 3.5 seconds, dispelling you and causing you to become invulnerable and untargetable. Restores a total of 25% of your max HP over that duration. Cannot be cast while rooted. Then the Ag Shard ability upgrades upgrades Ransack. Ransack now has a 30% chance on hit to apply a Geostrike debuff, slowing enemies by 20% and dealing 20 DPS for 4 seconds. Instances from different Meepo stacks. So the Ag Shard sounds really good. I have no idea what to make of. I've heard people say that this Aghanims is really good, but I don't really understand it. I guess. Tell me about it.
So the way you kill Meepo is that you kill one of them, right? And if you can't hard lock down that Meepo that you're going on, it can become invulnerable. It has
Right.
40 seconds cooldown, but I'm assuming that is not shared, so each of them can dig once. Right? If it's like every other Meepo thing, then they can all dig one time. I
Yeah.
think this is really good. If you're playing against Meepo and you're trying to kill one, he somehow breaks out of stun or silence. He has 3/4 of a second. He just stays alive, and you have to switch to another one. And when the first one comes back up, it's healed up by 25%. So when Meepo has 2 items, that's like a 750 heal as well.
Mm.
I think that's really good.
Okay. And the Ransack.
The shard. Sure. I'm not really a Meepo player, man, so I can't really say how powerful this will feel to have. The shard sounds good, but you also need to remember you're not buying Scotty if you're buying the shard, and this hero just
1,400
wants to get
gold to
tanky.
slow for 20%, and it stacks.
The damage
30%
is really
chance.
powerful, right? If all of your Meepos proc this together, it's a lot of damage, but I don't know how often you want to buy this instead of just getting big, right? With like
Mm.
E-Blade Scotties.
I'm sure we'll find out soon with Weehaw.
So, yeah.
Marana. Agonime Scepter has been reworked, so the old one was the extra or the passive Starstorm that goes off every 8 seconds or whatever it was. Now it causes Sacred Arrow to release a starfall on enemies within 500 AoE along the travel path of the primary arrow if you have the 3. Drops a second starfall that deals 50% damage on the impacted units. Very strange. And then the Ag Shard ability upgrades Leap, grants you 1 additional leap charge, and attacks during the leap buff have a 1.5 critical strike. How long is the leap buff for? How many
Just a
seconds?
couple seconds.
So it's pretty brief then. I thought it was like 4 seconds. That's probably too long then.
Let me check. Leap duration 2.5.
2.5 second critical strike. Okay.
Uh,
That's like a late
basically
game
core
item.
only. You don't buy this shard on support. I don't think 1 leap charge is worth 1400 gold.
Yeah.
But the scepter sounds pretty cool because the old one was like it was harder to use in a way. This is way more reliable and it has other uses as well, right? Like if you know where the enemy team is, you can starstorm them before the fight begins, and if your arrow connects, that's obviously great. Drops a second starfall on the impacted unit, so it also deals more damage on the guy. So if you hit an arrow on someone, they take the arrow damage and 1.5 starfalls, right? They must.
I feel like I tested this and it worked on all units, even none of the ones that were hit even. Just the
Yeah,
ones
yeah.
traveling along the
It's a
path.
500 AoE, right? So you throw out the arrow, and everything that is 500 range within this arrow gets hit by 1 starfall. So the guy you hit with the arrow as well will be within 500 AoE before it hits, obviously. So you take Starfall, then you take Arrow, and then you take half Starfall. So effectively, your arrow deals like 800 magic damage, and then you can Starfall yourself after for another double hit. Dude, that's fucking good, man. Magic Marana is insane with this, actually. Isn't it? If you hit an arrow, you just kill someone.
Solo kills.
Yeah, I think this is great.
It's definitely
It's a very good
more
ash.
creative than the old one, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Monkey King. Ag Shard upgrades your Tree Dance, lowers Tree Dance cooldown from 1 to 0.3 and cast point from 0.3 to 0.1. This is probably the most, like, in terms of just the way it reads, the most boring Ag Shard. But is it good? Because I have no clue.
I'm trying
You
to
don't
think
seem
about
like a
when this
Monkey
really
King.
matters. It
Would
gives
you buy
insane
it?
ability to travel the map, right?
Yeah.
You're really, really good at traveling the map, but you get no stats, no damage, nothing. You get no new utility except movement. 1400 gold is quite a lot that you could buy damage or survivability for. And this has no impact once you're in the fight, right? Where almost all the other ags do something when you're in a fight. I don't know. I actually really can't place this item, to be honest. It might be super good or just meh.
Okay, just need to refresh.
Someone in chat's pointing out you can mischief and then jump to escape. Mischief lasts, what is it, 0.2? 0.1? And the cooldown is 0.3. But the damage... Wait. I'm not sure, actually.
Sinner, do you
How
have
long
FPS
is it? This is
issues?
disabled for when you take damage.
I have no idea. When I play Monkey King, I pretend I don't even have Tree Dance. So
Yeah, don't buy this then.
you need to refresh your browser every once in a while. By the way, I found this out in game. It's even worse. Once you have these videos open, it just destroys your computer after a while. So be wary. Even the website's not optimized for this. The fucking main screen of Dota for the last 2 months has just destroyed my computer. Anyway, Morphling, Ag Shard ability upgrades the Adaptive Strike, causes Adaptive Strike to have +1 multi-shot, and removes the 3-second shared cooldown between the two different abilities. Prioritize enemy heroes.
That's really
Wait,
good.
is this actually just an upgrade for the agility then? That's not a typo?
It's an upgrade for the strength too, because you can use the strength one immediately after.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Beforehand, you could only use one, and then you had to wait 3 seconds. Now you can use both. I think this is really good. Like, if you think about it, you go for your E-Blade, right? And you obviously have a primary target, but the amount of utility this gives you for 1400 gold is really powerful. It allows you to not worry about whether you use the stun or the agi one. You can use them in succession. You can adaptive strike someone with your shotgun, and then if they try to TP, you can still stun them immediately after. You can interrupt spells when you go in for your nuke. The multi-shot obviously will not apply the E-Blade, but you just get extra damage in every fight when you use shotgun. Dude, this is really good, isn't it? I think this is really good.
You'd buy it. Okay.
I'd buy it. Next.
Naga Siren Scepter has been reworked, so the old one, if I'm not mistaken, healed with the ult. I believe they didn't change that, right? The new one allows Ensnare to target spell immune or sleeping units, reduces the Ensnare cooldown by 5 seconds, and increases cast range by 400. And then the Ag Shard ability upgrades Riptide, can activate Riptide, releasing stronger Riptide. It's not releasing a stronger Riptide, it's releasing a stronger Riptide that deals 100 extra damage and slows enemies by 30% for 3 seconds. Applies around each illusion, but can only be hit by 1 instance. This one I have not read yet. Interesting.
So that's the kind of the old Riptide that you had, where all of your illusions would use your active third skill to deal damage and reduce armor. It doesn't reduce armor now. That's only the passive component. Or the component isn't there anymore. Never mind. Deals extra damage and slows around all illusions. This is a farming machine item, isn't it?
It sounds pretty good.
20 minutes in, you get an automatic Riptide that you can use whenever you want for 15-second cooldown. So is that 2 or 3 times per summon? That's 3 times, right? They last 40 seconds, the illusions? Is it?
Couldn't tell you. I
Don't
don't
remember
play
how
Naga.
long they last. Is it 30? Shit, I never play this hero.
All right. Unimportant, Cinderin. What about the...
unimportant. The Scepter.
So I assume that the usage during sleep is just to allow, like you would use it on the tail end of sleep. See, literally
then
no
they
point
can't
of doing
blink.
in the middle. Right. And obviously the cooldown reduction and cast range is pretty big, but that's the whole Ag Scepter. Like for core Naga, never would happen unless you get
Yeah,
it
and
through
can you
Roche.
play support Naga nowadays?
I don't
It
know.
just, I mean, maybe sometimes, but support Naga almost effectively died when they changed Riptide to be passive instead of active.
Okay,
It works on
next.
towers. Thanks, chat. Okay. Make sure you ensnare the tower.
Nature's Prophet. Scepter has been reworked, so the old one. What was the old one? Is that the creates big tree ants with your ult
Yep.
kind of thing?
Yep.
And it increases damage? So Scepter reworked, lowers cooldown of the ult, I assume, from 85 to 60. Entangles all enemies it hits. Duration scales from 1.2 seconds up to 3 seconds at max bounces. Wow. And then Sprout is the shard ability upgrade. Causes the first 2 tree ants destroyed with Sprout to summon greater tree ants. Can only have 2 alive at a time. So
This shard is so good.
if you try to Quelling Blade out, you're surrounded.
Yeah.
And I assume if you use your Nature's Attendance on it, does it
If you
create
use
2 graders?
Force of Nature, or what's it called? Is it still called that?
Whatever the tree ant one is.
Nature's Call. Nature's Call. If you use
Right.
Nature's Call on your own Sprout, you summon all the normal treants plus 2 big ones.
Okay. Plus 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
because you get the greater treants regardless, right?
Well, I thought 2 just replaced like the old. Okay. That's
like how many trees are in a Sprout? There's like 8, 9, 10, whatever. So you get 2 big and then you get 5 small.
Okay.
This shard is so good for a couple of reasons. First of all, like you said, if you get sprouted, you can't Quelling Blade out because there will be a big fat tree in the way of you.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, if you just you can just use this to push.
Right.
You're in a wave, you're split pushing, you cast Sprout and you just let it run out, then it spawns 2 greater treants.
Wait, does it work when it just runs out though? I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
When it expires, you get 2 big treants.
It says when destroyed.
Yeah, they get destroyed when they expire.
I mean, you could call it destruction. I guess it does look like it.
I talked to Kezra about it last night. I believe he tested it and said it works. You just cast Sprout, and when it runs out, you get 2 greater treants.
Wow, that is actually literally broken. That's literally broken.
Nature's Prophet's map presence with this is just incredible.
And what about the Ags? Because the Ag sounds pretty good to me.
I'm not sure. It's 4,200 gold. The cooldown reduction is really nice. I don't know how good this Entangle is. It's hard to use it so that you hit heroes for, depending on how it scales, right? It says scales from 1.2 to 3. When is it 3? Is that when you're the 15th target?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's linear, then usually, I mean, I guess the average person will be rooted for like 2 point something, 2.5, 2.1-ish. I don't know if this is worth 4,200 gold. Maybe it is.
I'm sure
I think the shard is a no-brainer, though. That one is insane.
Sounds good.
Necrophos.
Right,
someone in chat just says it doesn't work on expiring. They checked.
Okay. Well,
so
it
there
works
might have
on
been
towers,
patched then.
so that's fine.
Maybe it's got patched. Don't know. I don't know if I can trust chat either.
For God's sake, Cinderin.
It doesn't matter. Move on.
Agonime Shard ability for Necrophos is a new ability called Death Seeker. Spawns a fast-moving large death pulse towards the enemy or ally, not self, dealing 50% more damage and causing it to spread a normal death pulse towards a nearby enemy and ally. Cast range 900, cooldown 20, mana cost 150. I mean, this one, it feels like I have to just see it in game with like the health and all that shit, but in theory, it sounds pretty good. I just don't know how you even build Necro anymore. Like, people have been going Ags to enhance the Ghost Shroud. I don't know. What do you think?
This hero really needs gold. It's another one of those where it matters so much that you get defensive items at the right time, like Lotus Orb or Pipe Greaves, whatever you want to buy. Ags, like you said. Don't know. It doesn't strike me as... But it's in addition to Death Pulse. So you have 2.
Yeah.
It's still
a little weird,
isn't it? It's still really good, isn't it?
So far, like they've all sounded good, other than the Lycan one, which you and I disagree on. But
So the guy you throw this on does not get pulsed, but everyone around him, right? If you throw it on an enemy, do they take damage?
I think you take damage, yeah, and then it spawns another death pulse on top of that.
They also take damage.
I would assume
that's pretty
so.
good.
Okay.
But everyone who gets hit by it, right? Everyone who gets hit by the death pulse takes 150%.
See, I don't know what it is, but like not seeing health bars in this video actually.
Oh no, never
me
mind.
off.
I misread it. The guy you throw it on takes 150% death pulse, and everyone else takes a normal death pulse. Right?
Yeah, 50% more.
Yeah. So the projectile deals 150, and then it makes a normal death pulse around itself to the other heroes.
So it's like essentially extends the range of death pulse, if you want to call it that, and obviously increases damage on the main target.
It has really good synergy with your ulti. Based on the travel speed, you can cast this after you ult, and you're guaranteed to get 150%. Dude, this is really good, actually. I revised my earlier statement, and I say this is good, and you probably want to buy it.
So you buy it. Okay, Night Stalker. Ag Shard upgrades Hunter in the Night. During nighttime, you can cast Hunter in the Night. Consumes a lesser creature, whatever that means, instantly killing it and restoring 25% of your max HP and mana. Can only be cast on non-player units. Cooldown 20. This is your original hero. This is what Synderen was known for like 2 decades ago when he was in diapers playing Dota 1. What do you think? Sounds really cool.
So I guess lesser creature is any non-ancient creep and not Spirit Bear. I suppose that's what it means. Your max HP. Do you buy this?
I don't know. It like Night Stalker sucks at farming, right? Like this would make more sense if it only worked during the day, right? Wouldn't it? Because isn't that the time that you don't want to be in the jungle at night? You just want to be ganking all the time.
Agonime Shard ability, Hunter at day.
Yeah, why not? I'm sure you could come up with some lore for that shit. I mean, the HP stuff and mana is pretty nice.
They could have called it Feeder at day, and then he feeds, but it's on the creeps, not himself.
You're gonna have to message Ice Frog for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I love this hero. I don't think this is what
you would not buy it. Is that what you're trying to say?
Like the problem is, how do you use this during a fight? Like against specific lineups, it's cool, right? If you're playing against any summon-based heroes, but if they don't have them, you can't effectively use this during a fight. If you're playing against a lineup that does have summons, then it's great. And you're paying 1,400 gold for a guaranteed 25% HP mana restore during the fight, and you can use it to farm. I'm being told you can't use it on summons. Is that all summons? Only non-player units. It just says that here. Maybe we should read that, Shannon. Can you please read the text before you give
It is literally 5 in the morning, okay?
Yeah, it's literally 5 in the morning for me too, in my head, okay? So
when I read, I don't actually, I'm not listening to myself. I'm just reading text on the screen, okay?
Dude, the fact that this is only non-player units, I don't know, man. I'm not sold.
This sounds awful, but I'm sure you'd still buy it. I think that's what we learned today.
I don't think I would buy this.
All right, Nyx, we'll see about that. Nyx Assassin, Ag Shard upgrade for Vendetta causes your Vendetta attack to reduce magic resistance by 20% for 4 seconds, and also increases Vendetta movement speed by 40%, thereby unlocking max speed. So you're a lot faster, and if you go for the E-Blade Dagon Express, you'll be dealing even that much more damage, 20% reduction in magic resist.
On top of that, Nyx got 4 buffs this patch.
Very true. He did.
I buy it. Next.
Ogre Magi. First of all, I just have to mention, level 25 talent went from 60 movement speed to 20% bash for 1.5 seconds. What the fuck is that? Ask your chat if it
shit.
Works on towers or not. The Ag Shard ability is a new ability. Fire Shield grants Fire Shield, creates a shield around the target ally or building. That one does work on buildings, absorbing 70% of the damage from the next 3 attacks. Launches fireballs at the attacker, dealing 125 damage. Lasts for 25 seconds. Can be multicast. Range 600, cooldown 18, mana cost 125. This sounds fucking great.
It
sounds really good.
The best thing about this is that I think it works against Techies mines because Gravekeeper's Cloak does, right? So you put this on someone and then you run in and take 3 mines at very reduced damage. Very good.
Wow. Great counter. I like it.
No, I think this is awesome. There's obviously, it's lineup specific. There will inherently be lineups that are really good against this, and there will be lineups that are terrible against this. Okay, so I'm being told it's only for attacks, so that is only physical hits, nothing else. So then well, that actually makes it better and worse at the same time, because it means you can't break it with some damage over time stuff, but at the same time you can't counter powerful spells. So let's say you're playing Ogre against, let's just say, Venno or Batrider. They can't easily remove the stacks, but at the same time you also can't block Laguna Blade. If it's strictly against attacks, what heroes is this really good against? PA. If she gets a crit, it's not that dangerous.
Any right clicker.
Life Stealer is likely to waste a lot of his rage.
Ursa.
Decent against Ursa. I mean, it's good against every physical carry, right? That has significant damage and isn't about playing longer fights. I guess a carry that's really good against this would be Terrorblade, because he can remove it instantly. Illusion carries should just destroy this spell, right?
I mean, the fact that it can multicast makes it infinitely better.
This is worthless against PL, for example. Right?
Yeah, because he breaks it immediately.
It has to be. Like, the illusions just immediately remove it. So this is good against heroes that have single powerful hits. So bad against illusion carries, really good against other carries like Sven, PA.
All right, next. Those kind of Omni Knight.
It's good. I would buy it. Next.
Omni Knight. Ag Shard new ability is called Hammer of Purity. Auto attack ability causes your next attack to deal bonus pure damage equal to 25 plus 150% of your base damage. You are healed for the amount of the damage dealt. Cooldown 6, mana cost 30. Okay, so
I love the animation. Can I just say that? That's awesome.
What? It looks cool. Looks like a purification.
Yeah, but it's like the speed that it comes down with, that impact. It's like that's a real smite right there.
This is, I mean, again, it's very late here, so I can't process it. This feels like a non-support Omni.
Yes.
Ability. This is like the old school Dota 1 where you soloed mid, you get SNY, Basher, just beat the shit out of everybody. But the problem is he doesn't really have anything else that, I mean, Degen Aura is still there, I guess, but nobody, is this enough to, you know, put him in that direction? I don't know.
I think this is one of the worst ones, just because you only buy it on core.
But you'd buy it. Okay, next. Oracle, Agonime Scepter rework. So the old one, the old one was actually insane, by the way. It turned his, whatever his Fortune's End into a stun, essentially. Half stun, half root or whatever. The new Scepter...
Wasn't the Scepter the one that gave you a really short cooldown
Purifying
on...
Flames? No, that's before that. That was older.
That was the one before. I mean, it says a lot about it. I've literally not seen Oracle buy any of those Scepters, I think, for the entirety that they were there. Okay, not true. I saw the first Scepter we bought like once or twice. I didn't even remember that's what it did.
This last one was actually, if you could get it, which again, that's an Oracle problem that you can't farm, but it was actually broken how good it was. I think that was actually unexplored, personally. But the new Scepter causes Fate Edict to no longer disarm allies or make enemies magic damage immune. So that is a huge change, but can you get an Ags is the real question. And then the Ag Shard upgrade is for False Promise, causes False Promise to have a 0.3 second fade delay invisibility. So my question with this, right, but do they stay invisible or
it's like
while they're attacking? So it's like, so you come out of invisibility.
Every time you hit, you come out for 0.3 and then you're gone again.
Right. Okay.
So like Glimmer. But yeah, the 0.3 fade delay is pretty short. I don't really like the Scepter rework. I think part of the charm and what makes this hero so cool and unique is the fact that those spells are double-edged swords. I don't like that you can remove that by buying an item. So I'm
But
not a big fan of the Scepter rework. I don't think
maybe
it's
they did that
interesting.
because Oracle literally cannot farm for shit. So this would force people, like I said, I think the last Ags was really good, but people still didn't get it. Is this enough to put it over the edge where you have to like prioritize farm on Oracle to get something like this? Because this sounds like broken how good it is. Is that not true? Like ridiculously good.
I mean, it depends, right? They still have some of the limitations, right? You can't cast it on BKB. So your carries that you want to cast Edict on to give them magic immunity might want to BKB anyway so they don't get stunned. At that point, you can't Edict them regardless. And when you want to cast this on enemies to disarm them, there's still like this, the spell still works the same way in terms of counters. So I have a hard time saying how easy this will be to farm and how big the payoff is. But I don't think the design is that interesting. It takes away, it basically removes a part of what makes the hero cool. You know what I mean? So I'm not a fan. I don't think you're going to farm this on a support Oracle regardless. You will still buy Glimmer. You will still buy Force Staff. Earn. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think this is really happening. But,
Apparently,
maybe it's
Outworld
insane. Maybe.
Outworld Devourer is now known as Outworld Destroyer, which was his second name. So for those that don't know, he was originally Obsidian Destroyer. Is that right?
Yep.
And then became Outworld Destroyer, I believe. And then something else, I think, was the third. And then the fourth was Outworld Devourer, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. And now we're back. I don't. Why? Why? Like,
I don't know. Like the theme of this patch in part is return to Farmer Glory, right? With some of the old stuff like Level Death and some of the Ag Scepters being old spells that heroes used to have. I think
you
there's a little
actually
bit
think.
of a. I think you're kind of trying to appeal a little bit to nostalgia. Like seriously, I mean, why else would you rename this hero? Doesn't
All
matter.
right. So where's Windrunner? Huh?
I don't know. They still don't have the copyright for
Where's
that, I think.
Doom Bringer? Why Doom? Why is his ability the same name? Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Outworld. So there's a lot of changes here. These are actually probably worth mentioning. So I'll let you do that if you want to. Otherwise, I'm just saying the Ag Shard,
Yeah.
which is an
So we're.
upgrade to Essence Flux. Do you want me to not do this since this
No,
was
go ahead.
Essence Flux becomes a 1.5-second channel ability, swaps your current life and mana totals, only transfers 75% of respective values, cooldown 45. So my understanding, the reason you would do this is because, well, to gain HP and then you'd be able to get your mana back anyway throughout your own, just the idea of the
This
hero in general.
sounds really hard to use.
It's weird. It's definitely weird.
1.5 seconds, you need to stand still and channel. You need to have a lot of mana and a little health, and you need to pay for the ability to do this. I feel like there's so many fights that this is not, like, this doesn't get used. If you buy it, you're going to be like, fuck, I should have bought a BKB. Like,
Well, it
I don't
costs
know,
less
man.
than a BKB, Synderen, to be fair.
I'm not sold on this Axe. I think it's too hard to use. It's not that the impact isn't big if you use it correctly. It's just think about the amount of fights that this gets countered somehow. Any silence, any stun, you need to channel 1.5 seconds. If you're already low on health and you want to trade it for mana, then people are on you and they're killing you. I don't know. This seems awkward. Really awkward to use. Okay, so I think it's worth talking a little bit about how OD got changed. So we're back to the old Astral that has max cast range on all levels. Is 650 now. The old max range was 450, or the previous one. So this is the old Astral that you used to be a bully within lane. So OD is back to being this lane bully that can always Astral the other hero and then deny creeps. Imprisonment upgrade cast range is reduced, so it's 800 max before it was 750. Duration reduced to 1.75 on level 1 from 4, but that's still enough to deny range creep. It no longer deals damage to an area. It's single target damage. Mana cost is reduced. And now it steals max mana from enemy heroes for a time. That's pretty powerful against some matchups in mid. Oh, it's just their max mana, but it doesn't steal current mana. So it just lowers their max mana pool, which is good still against some heroes. You can lower their max mana pool by so much that they can't cast their kit. If you use Astral twice on Alina, for example, can she afford all her spells? I don't think so. Then Arcane Orb's mana cost is 20% of current mana on all levels. Cooldown is 6420 instead of 0. Arcane Orb damage massively increased, especially on level 1. Holy shit, this is a 1-point wonder, huh? 14% damage. But of course, the cooldown matters on level 1, so. But it's still a nice one hit early on. Sanity's Eclipse no longer provides other abilities with a mana capacity charge counter. Now it has higher base damage and lower cooldown. I cannot tell you if this is a better hero or not.
So the thing I don't like about this is it feels like they've reworked OD like 10 times now, and he has never. I don't know if it's just me. I just find him so fucking uninteresting as a concept. And the fact that they've changed him so drastically so many times just makes me not care even more. I don't know if that's a thing that people agree with or not, but
I don't know. I think the most disappointing part about this is the shard. The rest of the stuff, who knows how good it is? Let's see.
I mean,
Let's
this
see
is
some
unique
games.
at
But
the
the
very
shard
least.
just sounds weird.
It's unique. Maybe they put something in that's maybe not that good right now because they have no idea if this hero is going to be good since they changed so much. Because we've been seeing like the changes to the heroes have not been drastic, right? This is the most drastic of like maybe 2 other heroes are similar in change. Okay, Pangolier. Ag Shard creates a new ability called Roll Up. Turns you into a protective ball for up to 4 seconds, gaining magic immunity and allowing you to turn. Can be cast during Rolling Thunder to temporarily pause it. Can cast Rolling Thunder and Shield Crash during Roll Up. If enemies attack you during Roll Up, you will roll away from the attacker for 0.75 seconds, applying Rolling Thunder damage/stun if there's enemies in the way. Cooldown 30. This one is really fucking good. Like, really good if you're a good Pango. Very interesting. The fact that it works with literally all of his abilities is crazy. You can use it to, like it says, pause the ult and then literally just do it 180 and turn around or just change direction or whatever. And the fact that it pauses your ult is a huge deal as well.
It gives you the Yule's functionality that people were looking for when they bought Yule's and Rolling Thunder, right? You should be able to hit a hero twice when you have this.
Yeah, true.
You roll under them, you pause, then it procs again, and you roll, right? So wait, when you're in roll up, you said it pauses. So I'm assuming the duration doesn't go down either. You're just there, and the duration counter freezes, or do you stop moving but the duration's still going? The duration's not going.
For the ult, it pauses the entire duration, so you can be in this ball for 4 seconds. And then
so that means you hit someone with ult, then you roll up, and when their stun ends, you stop roll up and you hit them again.
Right.
But if you stay in roll up, they don't get stunned. You have to end roll up because during roll up you don't affect them with Rolling Thunder. Only if you get moved by another hero.
Yeah,
or
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I'm not actually sure. I'd have to test that out to make sure.
Actually, this is a bit ambiguous, I think.
But... So no, I don't think it would work like what you're saying. I think the main purpose for the ult probably is, well, the turning direction is huge, and then the other one is if they have like I guess roots would be the main thing that you can get out of, because you're magic immune in your ult, but then a root will go through it, but then this will allow you to dispel that root. But it won't help against like Rupture or Fiend's Grip, shit like that. But it just has so many different applications that I think this is extremely good. I don't know if it's something you purchase literally every game, but it's definitely a good item.
I mean, for 1400, this is some really serious utility, right? And one last thing, you can enter a fight with roll up, and the enemy team can't tell if you're using roll up or ult. Doesn't it look identical?
No.
When you go in. So they don't actually know which one is coming yet. And then you can just turn it into your ult if you want.
You can tell by the BKB animation. It's very visible. If you look on the video. The glowing golden thing. Anyway, next.
But if you're moving, is that... Okay. It's similar, but not the same. Okay. Fine.
Phantom Assassin.
Next.
Ag Shard, new ability, Fan of Knives. Grants Fan of Knives. Releases sharp blades around you in a 550 AoE, dealing 12% of enemies max HP on impact, and applies a break for 3 seconds. Cooldown 20. Mana cost 125. This is in homage to... God, what was her name from Warcraft 3 that PA was based off of?
The Warden.
What Warden?
Maiev?
It was something Warden. It wasn't just Warden.
Maiev was a Warden. It was just called Warden. That was the name of that hero class in Warcraft 3, and then Maiev was the one from the
I thought
story.
it was like something Warden. Okay, anyway, that was an ability, similar
That's
ability
just
to what they
Warden.
had. So, the break is great. I don't know, 12% of max HP on impact at that stage. I mean, do you buy this item even? I think you buy it if you need a break, basically, right?
Yeah, probably. You buy it for the break only, right? 12% of
so.
enemies max HP. Does PA really worry about dealing damage?
No.
I don't know. It's situationally good. Let's say that, I think.
Should also mention her 25 talent was changed from 100% critical damage to 7% coup de grace chance. Nobody was getting that triple stifling dagger, so we'll see if that changes or not based on those changes.
Yeah.
Phantom Lancer Scepter has been reworked, so the old Scepter... Ooh. So they got rid of the Phantom Lance... God, what the hell? What's this Q called?
First, it was a jumping
Spirit
Phantom Lance. Spirit Lance, yes.
Then it was the Phantom Rush something.
0 cooldown.
That's what it did. It did something else as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, either way, it's gone now. Now Juxtapose can be cast, destroying your other Juxtapose illusions and quickly creating the max illusions it allows, which is 10 at the highest level, with a bonus 10-second duration. That sounds fucking awesome for PL players. Nobody else, though. And then the Ag Shard ability will upgrade Spirit Lance, and this is the old Ags, essentially. Bounces Spirit Lance towards an enemy up to 900 units away, prioritizing heroes. Increases Spirit Lance illusion damage by 20%. I think it bounced on more than one, though. The old Ags. So this might be a weaker version of that.
Yes, it did.
But this Agonime Scepter, like the question is, would you buy it? The effect is really good. I don't think there's any denying that. But is it something you would purchase?
Can you buy this, actually? Or do you want to get it from Roche?
Right.
Maybe you can buy it. Maybe you can buy it after like 2 or 3 items, because then this functionality is just incredibly valuable. It doesn't say if you dispel stuff when you use it. I'm guessing you don't. It's not going to be like you cast Doppelganger, where you just disappear and then the illusions appear. You'd probably just like spawn them next to you. But no. I feel like they would write that if you did that. I don't know. Gold on this hero, every extra item is so powerful because you make all these illusions. So if you buy an item to make illusions with, then they're not that strong. I don't know. I feel like if you buy this, you buy it late, but it's just incredible if you get it from Roche. That's the main thing. It makes PL a god when he gets it from Roche. So, yeah.
Yep, agreed.
I wouldn't buy the shard, by the way.
Wow, that is single digits with that statement. Phoenix Ag Shard upgrades your fire spirits, causes fire spirits to become a passive ability. Every 7 seconds, a fire spirit respawns. So this is almost like the IO Ags treatment, but it's a shard. Obviously less powerful.
Yep.
But that's cool. That's really cool.
The cooldown on max level of fire spirits is 30. So you get 1 every 7.5, technically, if you can use them in volleys every time.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that's good about this is that you can keep transitioning from lane to creeps to other camps. It's a farming item, in my opinion, primarily. Because in fights, what you want to do as Phoenix is you want to dive in, you want to bomb all your spirits, and then you want to egg. And then it doesn't matter that you have another fire spirits ready in the egg, because you're not going to use it. And when you come out, you have them again. So I feel like this one's pretty meh, to be honest.
What was the mana cost of fire spirits? Because it's gone now, since it's passive.
Chad is pointing out you don't need to spend health on it, which is nice. That is true. But
was it just health, or did it cost mana as well?
It cost mana too. Yeah.
So both are gone. I mean...
Yeah, but it's not really a problem the hero has usually. It's not really... Yeah. I'm not tempted to buy this. I feel like I would way rather buy the big items, like get Ags or get Refresher, Shiva.
Oh, if you think about it, like the old days, you buy
Hammer.
Hand of Midas on this hero. This is a farming. 1,400 gold to accelerate your farm. That's not too bad.
Right, but a big part of buying Midas was that you wanted to get level 18.
True.
And these fire spirits, I don't think it increases your farming speed by that much that it's like an crazy XP boost. I don't know. It doesn't appeal to me like something I would buy, but maybe it feels super good when you have it in the game.
Yeah. Okay. Puck.
Yeah, maybe.
Ag Shard upgrades Waning Rift. Waning Rift now deals 70 bonus damage and knocks enemies back 250 distance over 0.4 seconds, but that is technically non-interrupting. Also reveals invisible enemy units and wards in the area for 5 seconds. So got kind of the Zeus treatment. Obviously, the pushback is a hard synergy with Coil to the point where I'm actually surprised they put that in. That sounds, with Ags, ridiculous. Like, absolutely ridiculous. Like, doesn't almost, like, what does it say? 250 distance. I'd have to test this out, but you can almost guarantee breaking. Really good.
Not quite, but yeah, if they're like just, I think if they're like just a third away from the center, it's a stun.
Yeah, that's insane.
This is very good. I would buy it.
Thank you, Cinderin. All right, Pudge, Scepter reworked. So his Scepter was he could eat enemy heroes.
Allied heroes.
Or ally.
He can eat enemy heroes usually.
He could eat ally heroes, which would heal them over time. I personally love this one, even though I knew it was terrible because it was just really fun to use. But they've reworked it. Now increases rot radius by 200, damage by 80, reduces health regen on affected enemies by 25%. And then the Ag's Shard upgrades Dismember, allows targeting an ally with Dismember to swallow them and heal them for 6% max HP per second. Has half cooldown when used on allies. So literally the old Ags, except technically better because of the cooldown, for 1,400 gold instead of 4,200. Yeah. That's awesome.
I think this hero got buffed a lot this patch. He also got other buffs than just these, which we aren't covering all of them or we would never get done. But Pudge is better for sure. I think this Agonime Scepter is really good, actually.
I was actually looking at somebody posted a video. The visuals don't even show the rot extending, so it doesn't look like it's working.
That should probably get fixed. That's a bit weird, but yeah. It's when you get this Ags on Pudge, you have insane wave clear, you have insane damage in team fights, you have so much presence, basically. One of Pudge's problems that he has in fights, even when he gets farmed, is that it's difficult for him to have a high impact across the fight. He usually has like this little vacuum in the fight where he is good, and then the rest of it doesn't really care about him. When you get this 200 radius is big. And the damage being effectively, what's that? It's almost doubled, right? What's Rot's damage? Is it 120? So it goes from 120 to 200, right? It's like plus 40%, not plus 40%, plus 75%, something like that?
I'll let you do the percentages.
Whatever.
It's an increase.
Plus, it's like plus 2/3. I think it's really good in combination with his other buffs, and this Scepter I think is worth buying, and I think the Shard is definitely worth buying in the right game. I don't think you default buy this, but if it counters something really well, you can start having Pudges like a pseudo counters to stuff with Blink Shard, for example.
Yep. It's now it's another save. I mean, he technically had this before, but it's much more reasonable to actually purchase on a hero that doesn't really farm particularly well. Okay, I like it. I wonder what Jenkins thinks of. We talked about this hero at BTS, the BTS event, quite a bit. He's very, very sad how bad he's been lately. Pugna Ag Shard upgrades Life Drain for every 1.75 seconds of channel on an enemy. Another secondary life drain is created, targeting another random enemy hero in the cast range, plus 200. You will continue to channel until there are no enemy heroes available or the channel duration runs out. So obviously the channeling aspect, that this sounds amazing, but obviously you can't get interrupted. But then again, even without an Ags, it's like a 7-second cooldown only on life drain. So this just sounds, for 1,400 gold, it's really freaking good.
This is very strong.
You would buy?
Think so. Think I'll buy it.
Okay, great. Queen of Pain. I like how the later we get now, now you're starting to realize you shouldn't be talking for 30 minutes for each hero.
Stop talking. Go on.
Okay, Queen of Pain. Ag Shard upgrades Blink. Releases a sonic boom when you blink at both your starting and ending location. Deals 150 damage and 300 AoE, and silences for 1.5 seconds. Yes, you can be hit by both. Sounds kind of cool.
Oh,
They
so I
also got
feel-
rid of the Scream of Pain Fear 25 talent, which is a huge deal, and changed it to
Yeah.
200 Sonic Wave damage.
Yeah. How often do you... Do you think there's a build with Agonime Shard on Quap and then you get Dagger? So then you can blink in, and then you can use blink inside the fight. I don't know.
Sounds awful. I
I
love
love
it.
the animation of it, by the way. I think the blink looks really cool. That's a real succubus animation there. That's awesome. How good is this? I think it's good after you have a defensive item. I think you actually have to have a defensive item on this hero, probably. So like,
it's almost like a Void Spirit Ags, right?
Kind of, yeah. I think you buy, if you go for the usual build of like Orchid or Euls and BKB, then maybe you can get this after as like a value pickup mid game. I think it's pretty decent, but not top tier, I would say.
I mean, top tier has to be truly top tier with how many good ones there are. Razor, I have not read this one. Agonime Shard upgrades Storm Surge. Causes Storm Surge to have an 18% chance to release a forked lightning when attacked or always when targeted with a spell. Hitting the target and up to 2 other enemies deals 120 damage and slows them by 50% for 1.5 seconds. So 18% chance.
They specifically did that so it's not 17. You know.
Yes.
There's no other reason. It's just
they
so
are
people
memers,
are like, haha, it's
no
not
doubt.
17.
No, they did the math, Thunderin. They know.
Always when targeted with a spell. So this seems really good against some lineups. Like, imagine being, for example, a hero like Bristleback fighting Razor when he has this. Every time you goo him, you get Fork Lightning and slowed and take damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every time. And then if you somehow get to hit him, you could even get shocked again. What heroes cast a lot of single target spells? I use Bristleback as the prime example because he's the biggest one, but who else?
Cinder, it's too late for these questions.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Chad
next.
is saying Zeus. Zeus also very good.
Okay. Very
it
good.
Seems to be limitless range, right?
I mean, it doesn't say what the range is.
It doesn't say a range. So if you get bolted from or Arc Lightning from like 1,000 range away, I guess you still just shock for 1,000 range.
So you're saying
Probably.
if Spectral Dagger comes from the other side of the map?
Yeah, if that counts as a single target, Spectral Dagger is a little bit iffy sometimes, I think.
Okay. Well,
but
we'll find out soon enough, I'm sure.
Anyway, decent. I think situational.
Ricky Maru. There was one thing. Smoke Screen can now be cast during Tricks of Trade. That's huge. And the Ag Shard adds a new ability called Sleeping Dart. Fires a dart at the target enemy, putting them to sleep for 3 seconds. The target is invulnerable until duration ends. When the target wakes up, they receive 150 damage and are slowed by 25% for 4 seconds. Cooldown 20, cast range 1200, mana cost 125. This is such a cool ability. Like, this is another one of those things that just fits like the assassin build, right? The old stealth assassin, as he was called. And you just take somebody out of the fight so you can just, like they showed perfectly in this example. Like, this is very cool. Very cool item.
I think this is really good for situations primarily where you're 1v2, right? You sleep one guy and go on the other, for example. Yeah. For single killing, I don't know how often this matters and if it's worth 1,400 gold, but it just gives you so much utility in fights. You can do new stuff. You have a silence and a sleep. This is good, man. I think you buy this almost every game on Ricky just because it gives you a new way of playing the hero entirely.
Does it say what the cast rate? 1,200 cast rate. You put somebody to sleep.
Really good.
Then you just put a smoke screen on top of them. You diffuse a blade them. Like, that's just a kill on like all supports during the mid game. This is like really.
The thing is, it's usually a kill on all supports without the dart too. But what it does is you can kill them reliably because you can sleep someone else. I think that's more likely valuable.
I don't think you've seen my pub games where I initiate on a lion just like this, and they always have vision. Okay, they always have vision.
They instant hex somehow.
Yes. It's high skill.
I think we should mention as well, Tricks of the Trade Scepter upgrade hits 2 units instead of 1. That's a really big buff to Scepter as well.
Yeah, I love his Scepter. So nice powerful. To be back to where it used to be. I think that's actually the old
Next.
one. Rubik! Ag Shard ability upgrade for Telekinesis. This is another save that we're adding to the game. Allows you to use telekinesis on yourself or an ally. Throw range is 60% longer and cooldown is reduced by 30% when targeting allies. Throw delay is reduced by 0.5 seconds. So the reason... What did I say?
2.5 seconds, not by.
Throw delay is reduced 2.5 seconds. Sounds like I'm saying 2.5.
0.5. Jesus Christ. I can't take this.
I like this a lot because like the one thing that becomes really old, like in terms of meta, just from watching and commentating pro games, when you have like these save heroes that are picked, there's like 3 heroes, right? Like, oh, they need a save. Let's get this hero. It's always the same fucking heroes every time. Now there's like 1 billion of them, but they have to itemize for it. I think that's really cool. I like this a lot.
But at the same time, isn't that a little bit concerning for the save heroes that their value gets diminished?
Fuck them.
Okay.
I mean, you can buff them in other ways.
That's a really good con argument. I don't have anything for that. I think you're right.
Add me to the team, Ice Frog. I win all arguments.
Yeah. This is clearly very, very good on Rubik. You want this. You want.
Okay. Oh,
next.
All right. I'm a huge fan. Huge fan. Sand King Epicenter now uses cast time instead of channel time. It has been literally 15 plus years that Sand King had that shitty ass ult.
Well, I can't press my buttons correctly. Thank God there's a failsafe in case I press alt. Yep, go on.
Technically speaking, I've had really issue with that, but being able to work around, both stupidity from teammates, getting trolled from people, getting randomly having your blink dagger canceled for some stupid fucking reason because something random hits you. This is great. Great quality of life change, Ice Frog. Thank you. And then the Ag Shard ability upgrade for Epicenter. Every 700 units moved causes an Epicenter pulse around you in 400 AoE. That's very, very cool.
That is so strange.
What are his talents again? What upgrades for Epicenter does he have?
I don't think he has anything that would benefit the shard, does he?
The other one, like one of them is extra pulses, which would not do anything.
Let me see. Sand King talents here. What is it? So epicenter damage per pulse. So I guess that technically works for it, right? For the passive ones. 20 damage per pulse on level 10. And that's the only thing that synergizes with the shard.
So if you burrow strike, does it do the epicenter pulse during the burrow strike or where you end up? That's one big thing.
No clue.
Because with like Agonime Scepter, that would synergize really well, obviously. Maybe it does multiple pulses, actually. That would make sense. I don't know. This sounds really cool. I like it. I like it a lot.
I feel like Sand King really wants some specific items most of the time before this, but I could see it being useful. And again, it's wave clear, I guess. It's like you have so much wave clear already, though. Don't know.
I also don't know if it's a bug, but vertical distance was counting earlier, so Yule's procced it once that I saw.
Oh, right.
But yeah, it's cool. I like the changes to Sand King.
I think, I think the epicenter using cast time instead of channel time. I was just kidding. I mean, it's like in a lot of situations you would use epi by mistake, and then it sucks. But I think mainly that's a player error, right? You don't need to buff spells in case people misclick.
We call that user error in the business.
Yeah. The thing about this is you get to stun epi, and then if you can tell that it's a bad epi moment, or if you get cancelled, you're still able to get it off later. So it's like Shadow Fiend ulti now. Mm-hmm. So that is a big buff in terms of how you use it. But like the whole thing with, finally now I don't use it by mistake, like honestly don't really care about that part.
I mean, just using it in like the middle of people to force them to try to counteract you. Now they can't really do anything.
Yeah, and then you can still do it later. That's why it's so good. It's a very
mostly
nice
it's quality
buff.
Of life. I like it a lot. Anyway, Shadow Demon. So Shadow Poison is no longer dispellable. That's kind of a big deal.
Pretty big buff.
And the Ag Shard ability upgrade for Demonic Purge allows Demonic Purge to be cast on allies, continuously dispelling them and healing them at the end instead of damaging them. Does not slow allies. This is literally False Promise when it first came out, minus the invisibility. Is that right? Is that not right? other than like the
But didn't
healing
False
mechanic.
Promise always protect from death?
Okay, sure. It's very
So
similar. Okay,
yeah,
and this is an
this is
ag shard
very,
ability.
very good.
Yeah,
It's you
sounds
put this
too
on a
good almost.
carry that goes in, and they're almost unstoppable, right? You can't slow them. You can stun them, of course, so they can be stunned, but you can't slow or silence for 7 seconds on the guy that this gets used on, and
Yeah.
then they also get healed. This becomes insane when you get X, to be honest, because then you have 3 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. This is amazing for sure. I don't know how good it is before you have Scepter. When you have Scepter, it's S tier. But before that, it's like you have one of them, and then you can't use it offensively, which is also really good already. So you kind of have to make the choice. But when you have Scepter, this is just busted, man. It's
It's
crazy
funny
good.
though, like just thinking about old Pat, like when False Promise first came out for Oracle,
Yeah.
that was literally the most busted ultimate I think I've ever personally seen. I've only heard stories about the Ricky Ward, but that thing was just unreal. Okay, Shadow Fiend. Ag Shard ability upgrade for Necro Mastery. It now provides 0.75% spell amp per soul. I really like the
How many
representation they
can you
have in this
have?
video. Was it they reduced it to like 20 and then Ags with 30 or something like that?
So you can have Necromastery. You can have 20 and 25 with Axe.
Okay.
So
What's
that's
25 times
15% spell amp
0.75?
without Axe, and with Axe it's like 19,
And
right?
doesn't he have a
Ish.
spell amp talent as well, if I'm not mistaken?
He has something that ramps it up as well. Let me find that.
Well, his
Don't
shadow
remember it by
rays ramp
heart.
up normally, but then I think he
6% spell
has.
amp level 10.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a bigger one than that.
But I mean,
Okay.
15% spell amp on Shadow Fiend is no joke because of how raises scale, right?
Yep.
1400 gold for that sounds pretty valuable. Maybe compared to a lot of the other ones, maybe not as interesting, but
Yeah, no, that's true.
but it's
Okay.
good, right? I think it's good.
I'd buy it. Shadow Shaman. Ag Shard ability upgrade for Shackles. Shackle creates 4 serpent wards that attack the target while you channel. Increases shackle range by 150. Wards last 8 seconds. Doesn't say this.
Sick.
It doesn't say this, but it looks like it blocks them. Or can they just run out?
I think they have to kill one to get out.
They have to kill one or phase boots.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that
Dude, this is really good.
that's great. You can literally just shackle just to use the serpent wards and then start casting other stuff on other people, right?
Yeah, you could even do that, but it's also that your solo kill potential goes up by so much because you get 4 extra wards on top of the ones you already use with your ult.
Yeah.
This helps you kill Roshan. They attack the target. I'm guessing if the target disappears, they don't start attacking other stuff? Or do they? Like if I kill in the clip there, if he kills this TA, will it start hitting the Juggernaut next to the TA?
Probably.
Or do they just stand there? They probably hit something else, right?
Probably. Yeah. This actually feels more. I don't know if this sounds crazy. It sound like back in the day, No Tail used to play the Polywog Priest mid, like we've talked about. Does this
All right,
sound like
let's
it
try
could be a like when you get Ags and Refresher, having to use one of your ults to kill somebody feels horrible. But now you could technically, in theory, do it without any of that. So you could see more Shadow Shamans as quote unquote core potentially.
Right. I'm still a bit unsure what to make of the text though. I feel like it's a bit ambiguous. It says it creates 4 serpent wards that attack the target while you channel. So if you stop channeling, they don't attack. They still attack after you stop channeling if you look at the clip, right? The channel ends and then they shot one more time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it says it doesn't say they attack while you channel. It says they're created while you channel. So you start the channel, they're created,
It
and the
says
job is
Shackle
done.
creates 4 serpent wards that attack the target while you channel. So it's the creation that's while you channel, but the attack is normal.
All right, just
right?
bad wording, but I mean we can
I
just
guess
see
so. Okay.
on the video.
Well,
right?
it makes a pretty big difference though for how good it is.
No,
if
it
they're
does,
controllable,
yeah.
this is really, really good. Anyway, next.
Silencer. The Ag Shard ability upgrades Glaives of Wisdom, causes Glaives to bounce once towards the closest enemy unit, dealing 50% of your attack damage. Bounce range is 600 unit to unit. So this is more of the carry. This allows you to, I don't know if this would be flash farm, but allow you to actually do some farming in the jungle if you want as Silencer. as a
Yeah,
core?
they do full glaive damage, but half attack damage. It looks like so the int component is full on the bounce.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Right.
Okay.
It
Nice.
looks like it. How good is this? Don't know. I feel like Core Silencer really needs to buy specific things again. Like, maybe it's value. The farming is nice. I think you definitely want this, but I'm not sure when you want to buy it. Maybe you buy it straight away. Like, if you get to hit 10 times in a fight, that's a shitload of damage. The bounce range is really big. 600 range is a big search radius. I think it's... might be second item, actually, or third item. 20 minutes. What do you have at 20 minutes? You have treads, one more item, and maybe another half. Yeah. So maybe third item.
Okay.
Sounds good. Next.
I don't mind seeing a core silencer more often these days.
No, he also got some cool items. We'll get to that.
Yep, that's true. Skywrath Mage, Ag Shard ability upgrades Ancient Seal, which will now debuff. Sorry, the debuff itself will now cause other debuffs applied to last 40% longer. Grants vision over the target. So it specifically says other debuff, so I assume Ancient Seal will not last. The silence itself will not last longer. But so the vision looks like the old
it in the
track,
clip, though, doesn't it?
Isn't Ancient Seal like 6 seconds already with the talent?
Yeah, it might be a max level Ancient Seal, that one. It's hard to tell.
But this,
Grants vision.
I mean, with the right lineup, this is pretty strong. And then if you get the whatever that item in the jungle is, or did they delete that item? No, whatever the item's called that increases that stuff as well.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
All right, Slardar.
I think this is also decent.
I'd buy it. Corrosive Haze is the Ag Shard ability upgrade. Causes Corrosive Haze to be applied for 5 seconds to units hit with Slitherine Crush.
Very strong.
Wow. This hero I thought was going to get mega nerfed, and he only got slightly nerfed, and then they added this. Incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is so strong in some games, and it is better. I guess it's better the worse the level of the game is, right? Because then people's positioning is worse.
Mm-hmm.
In the highest of high skill, it's hard to hit a 3-man crush, but it does happen. But even a 2-man crush is nice, and even one, then you don't have to cast haze. The fact that you can just crush and start hitting people and save that cooldown or that animation is really nice, honestly.
If I'm remembering right, the 25
gives you an extra
talent
hit or
that,
two.
Like the 25 talent people always take as Corrosive Haze is undispellable, which they probably still
Yeah.
take. But the other one nobody ever took. I think it's still there, right? The crush cooldown gets lowered to
I think
ridiculous,
so.
which is obviously good with Ags, and now both Ags and the Shard. So maybe that's enough to see some experimentation potentially.
Minus 4-second cooldown.
Yeah,
which takes it down from...
It's like 8 to 4 or something.
Yes, correct. 8 to 4.
God, I'm good. God, I'm so fucking good.
Dude, it is really good though.
Slarky Malarkey. Ag Shard ability is a new ability called Fish Bait. Can throw it on enemies to reduce their movement speed by 30% and grant you true sight over them for 4 seconds. If you pounce an enemy during that time, you will be rewarded with 50 attack speed for the duration of the pounce. Cast range is 1100, mana cost 100, cooldown 20. I assume this is a single target spell?
He is targeting it in the clip.
Okay.
At least.
It technically could be point target to where it just travels to him. Not sure.
Either way, component is really good.
Mm-hmm.
It counters Glimmer Cape, which is something Slark usually struggles with, so that's nice. But it has no farming value because you can't pounce creeps. I don't know. Does this feel very good to you? I'm not convinced. It's 1400 gold. You really need items on this hero.
Yeah. It sounds situational, but it doesn't sound like one of those like I mean, again, we've been reading so many of these Ag Shards that are just ridiculously good. This is not one of them. It could be good.
No.
but it's not a no-brainer.
50 attack
agree.
speed is decent. Like if you connect on him, you get a moon shard for 4 seconds, right? Almost.
This is
Or
probably not
moon
how
shard,
it is. It says if
Hyperstone.
you pounce an enemy during that time, does that mean you have to pounce the fish enemy?
I don't think so. I think you just need to hit a hero after you throw bait.
So that makes it a little bit better.
It should say if you pounce the target, right?
Right.
Or it's just really weird wording.
So if it's just any enemy, it makes it better, but still situational.
I'm not. It's one of my least favorite ones.
Fair enough, Synderen.
Next.
Still buy it. Snapfire. Scatter Blast is the Ag Shard ability upgrade. Units in the point blank range of Scatter Blast will be knocked back 250 units and take 125 extra damage and be stunned for 1.5 seconds. So this feels incredibly powerful. I was watching Brax's stream. He brought up a really good point that you basically push them away, they get stunned, and now they're in range to get Cookie stunned as well.
Yeah.
Like there's just so many applications for this. This looks ridiculously good, especially for like a lot of the, I don't know if they were core necessarily, but like position 4 Snapfires that we've seen that do get some form.
I think there's an item build on this hero now, which is Blink Shard. That feels insanely good. Like you can, if there's any moment of opportunity in a fight where 2 enemy heroes are close to each other, you blink on top of them, Scatter Blast and Cookie, and then it's like a 3.5 second stun for massive damage, setting up your team. It's kind of like a pseudo RP, just that your hero has a totally different kit and can maybe reset out and then use ulti as well.
Mm-hmm.
I love this. I think it's really good. As in, love it in terms of I would love to buy this, not that I love the design and think it's insanely well made or whatever. I don't know if this is broken. Like it might be, but
yeah, she's definitely good.
It's hard to get in point blank range on multiple heroes without a mobility item, right? That's the thing to keep in mind. You kind of either have to cookie in and somehow get a really good cookie on yourself so that you can point blank, or you buy a dagger.
I mean, Blink Dagger it's not like that's super uncommon already on Snapfire.
No,
right?
it's great already. So yeah, it's
all right.
good.
Sniper. Ag Shard ability gives him a new ability called Concussive Grenade. Grants Concussive Grenade, knocks enemies back 425 units, slowing them by 50% and disarming them for 3 seconds. Radius 375, cast range 550, cooldown 20, mana cost 75. So, I mean, obviously synergizes with how the hero wants to play, aka not in people's faces.
Yeah.
1,400 gold. Like for the games that they have a lot of heroes that can close gaps on you or have gap closing.
Yeah, this is godlike against any core that doesn't want to buy BKB against you, right? So that entire phase that they don't have BKBs, you just like who's even going to get on top of you against this?
Well,
they come close. Even a Slark that pounces you, you can knock back him, buy yourself time. Sure, he can remove the disarm with Dark Pact, but you make the distance.
When it says knocks enemies back, does it cancel? Like, would it cancel charge from Spirit Breaker?
I think so. Yeah, it should.
Okay,
yeah.
So that's really.
I think forced repositioning stops things like that. So, yeah.
All right. Spectre.
That's good.
Something we should mention: the Ags that applies a singular haunt essentially now will also auto cast a spectral dagger on the target. Pretty strong.
Really good.
The Ag Shard ability upgrade is for Dispersion. Can activate Dispersion to spawn a haunt illusion to attack the most recent hero that damaged you in the last 5 seconds. Illusion lasts 5 seconds. Cooldown 25. Mana cost 150. And obviously you can
you can reality to it.
Reality to the haunt illusion.
Dude, that's actually so cool. Like they go on your somebody harasses you a little bit, and then you play Uno reverse. You know, like straight up.
Uno, fuck plays Uno still.
Dude, this is cool.
No, it is, and with the like, if you end up getting Ag somehow, but yeah, now you have a lot of like ways to kind of fuck people's perception of what's actually going on in fights. You have so many illusions.
Actually super messed up. I think I'm trying to imagine when you just flat out want to buy this. I think it's just awesome utility to have, right? Like even in fights, you can cause confusion, you can reposition. If you pay close attention, there's a lot of skill-based stuff you can do with this, right? Let's say you're playing Spectre against Sniper. and you use this right after he hits you, then you just melee with Sniper, and you not only get on top of Sniper, you get away from his melee heroes that are on top of you. Dude, this is actually a fucking cool design. I love this. That is so cool.
Yeah,
There's
I
so
agree.
much skill involved with this. You can use it. Oh yeah, people are saying you can use it against Zeus. So if Zeus ultis, you have a global haunt, right? Against Zeus.
Yeah. Damn.
Dude, this is awesome, man. This is so. I love this. This is one of my favorite ones. Not necessarily one of the best, but it's just one of the best ideas. I love this
Spirit
shit.
Breaker, Ag Shard, ability upgrade for Nether Strike causes Nether Strike to have a cast delay rather than a cast time. Deals 200 extra damage and applies Break for 4 seconds. You are spell immune during the cast delay. Wow. That's cool. So they took away some ability to break in this game, but now they've added just a lot more in this patch particularly.
So this means you charge someone and you press Nether Strike, and then you can't get silenced or stunned. It will go out no matter what. It's like Relocate. You just start it, but Relocate gets stopped by stuns. I don't think this will. It doesn't say if it does, so I'm assuming it doesn't get stopped. Right?
Wait, why did
So
you say
press
charge? What do you mean charge?
No, it's just I'm explaining how usually Spirit Breaker's fights start, right? He charges a target, he connects, and then he starts Nether Striking, and the other team will usually try to silence or stun you so you don't get ulti off.
Mm-hmm.
But now you just use it straight away, and you're guaranteed to get it off even if you get stunned.
Yeah.
You can't even get stunned. You're spelling me. What the fuck? I mean, dude, I should read the whole thing a little bit more carefully before I say things.
It's getting late. It's okay. It's only morning.
So it's 100% safe. Does it go off if you get Black Hold? I guess it does.
Oh, that would be an interesting
200
test.
extra damage break for 4 seconds. Dude, I would buy this.
Of course you would.
This is really good. And it's another break mechanic.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
Strong.
this one sounds crazy. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, first of all, let's talk about his talent change, because this is the one that nobody took, was the Overload Pierces immunity for Storm Spirit level 25. Is now +2 Overload bounce. Causes your attack to bounce up to 2 times at random enemies. Can bounce back if they are only 2 enemies. I mean, that sounds good, but the other one just sounds so broken still.
Yeah.
That I don't see any change in that. You could literally give him 1,000
like, wow,
HP.
that's a good talent, but the other one is just godly.
Yeah.
So
the Ag Shard ability is actually a new ability called Electric Rave. Grants Electric Rave gives you and allied heroes within 750 AoE of you 3 overload charges, last up to 12 seconds or until the charges are depleted. Cooldown 30, mana cost 150. Additionally, passively provides 40 attack speed to Storm Spirit, because why not?
What?
This sounds broken. Am I wrong? This sounds like super broken.
What
am I missing?
Isn't this like maybe actually the best one?
Yeah, quite possibly. Top 5 minimum. I feel like
it's like you think about how strong Tusk is when he gets in melee range with someone and uses tag team, but you're giving ranged tag team.
That's true.
To your allies here, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like this one's gonna get nerfed like immediately. I don't know.
Wait, what? Are we misreading this? Like, do the overload charges that your allies have, they get the full overload effect, right? They get full damage and slow.
It doesn't say otherwise, so why not?
Okay.
I think it's
that is bonkers. Must buy. Next.
Sven, might as well talk about his changes since he was the most infamous hero in the last patch. God Strength damage, or wait, God Strength reduced. Okay, it's the damage reduced. God, they really didn't do the proofreading on this. From 210% to 180%, so only a 30% reduction. The Stormhammer Scepter no longer applies attacks on impact. Actually, that was my suggestion, Cinderin, if you remember during our cast.
Yep. I think so.
Thank you, Ice Frog, for watching. Stormhammer Scepter bonus range reduced from 500 to 350. And the Stormhammer dispels enemies is no longer a talent. It's been changed to a 4-second Warcry duration. But the Ag's Shard ability gives you that dispel.
Sven got hit hard this patch.
That's interesting you'd say that. I feel like this is not a major nerf hammer. He got nerfed, but it's not like he's unplayable. I think he's still good. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, he's not necessarily unplayable, but he got nerfed really hard, in my opinion.
Okay.
You need to spend 1,400 gold to get something you got for free before. Like,
You don't need this
literally,
every
right?
game, though, right? Do you need this every game, this spell?
Stormhammer Dispel?
In pro games, maybe.
It's close. It's close to something you would want every game. And you always had the benefit. Like, think of it this way. If you don't have this, people can buy Ghost Scepter against you now.
Hmm.
So if you don't buy this, you get fucked by one 1,500 gold item instead. So now you have to spend gold to work like you did before, which slows down your item progression. And on top of that, every other hero got an actual shard ability, and you didn't. You got what you had. So everyone else is stronger, and you're the same when you pay gold for it. That's a big nerf.
But they did not change cleave, so he can still
Correct.
farm better than basically every hero in the game.
You can still farm. God Strength is worse, though, by a bit. 10, 20, 30%.
I mean,
or what's
you've
that?
kind
10,
of lowered
10, 30%. That's a really random
You've kind of
scaling.
lowered his net worth by 1,400.
Yeah, but it's not that simple, right? Because you made everyone else better, too.
True.
In their options. So, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm overrating this. I think this is the most nerfed hero of the patch in many ways with this, but we'll see how it turns out with the wins.
I mean, that might be true. I don't think there's been any like beyond. Like, I'm trying to think of heroes that have been nerfed to the ground before this. I feel like nobody's been getting that treatment.
This is not the biggest single nerf a hero has got in general, but I think in this patch it might be the biggest one.
All right, Techie's Agonime Shard ability upgrades Blast Off. Increased Blast Off cast range by 600 and applies a 1.5 second stun to enemies within 200 AoE, half the primary radius. That is quite strong.
Why did this hero not get changed, Shannon? Why?
Because he's perfectly balanced, Synderen, obviously.
Yes.
He's great. Okay, we won't tilt you anymore. Templar
I played against
Assassin.
this Axe. I played against it yesterday.
Oh,
it's strong. It's really strong. If you come from a smoke as techies, you can blast off from so far away that the smoke doesn't break, so you can initiate the fight and stun.
Pretty good.
And silence.
TA Agshard ability upgrade for Psionic Trap causes Psionic Traps to silence enemies for up to 2.5 seconds based on how long the trap has been charged, minimum 0.5 duration. This feels like one of the... I'm not saying this isn't good. I guess I'm just thinking of my pubs, Synderen. This would be terrible in my pubs. Nobody's going to use this properly. Pro games, I could see it potentially being a lot better, obviously. What are your thoughts?
Very good against specific heroes, but you're paying 1,400 gold on a hero that's snowball reliant. So I think you don't buy this very often, to be honest.
When you get Ags on her, you can teleport to your traps, and it's a free meld strike. That's the two things? Or do you get anything else with it?
I don't remember. Like,
and then you have Bash
purchase.
With talent. So now you just literally have every mechanic in the game, essentially, for TA if you want with silence.
The thing is, I think you counter TA, and whether she has this or not, the counters are the same, right? It doesn't like add a layer to what you need to do. You still buy Ghost Scepter or Force Staff.
Right.
And then if you're silenced, yeah, it sucks to get silenced, but she also paid 1,400 gold for it instead of getting to ward a big item. So I think, like, maybe in some matchups and some situations, this is cool. Like, if you prepare for a Roche fight and you have like 4 traps set up, then you can just chain silence people like the old Nyx bugs. So maybe we're underrating it a little bit. I think for teamfight purposes, it's really good. But for
do you remember
skirmishes
Weaver?
And ganks, I don't know how much.
Weaver's Ghosts? What were they called?
Yeah.
Weaver's Ghosts that you run around. They're just literally invis units. That was Weaver's ability, one of his abilities, instead of his bugs. Terrorblade. Okay, there were some things here. So Terror Wave ability is now gained when equipping Scepter rather than after Metamorphosis cast. That's the fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge buff for that. Although the fear duration is now drastically reduced. I didn't read that, so that's mega nerfed. And sends units away from you rather than towards the fountain. Okay, that's pretty cool. You can position yourself to actually put them in a horrible spot.
Yep.
Agshard ability is a new ability. Demon Zeal grants Demon Zeal. Costs 25% of your current HP to cast, providing you 25 movement speed, 50 attack speed for 6 seconds. Provides 50% more bonus while melee. Cooldown 14. I don't know how to feel about this one.
Not sure. I think, again, this is another hero where the items that you want to buy are just so important that maybe this is a late item. if at all. You missed the biggest part of Terror Wave, by the way. I wanted to mention that one. It grants you Metamorphosis for 10 seconds when you use it. And if you already are metamorphed, you
Damn.
extend the duration by 10 seconds. This is a huge buff to the Axe of Terrorblade. That the one thing that makes this hero so powerful is meta, and you just have 10 seconds more. This is very, very strong. Yeah, about the Zeal, don't know. You use it while melee, but the problem is, like, if you transform after using it, I'm assuming you lose the melee bonus, right? It's not about when you activate it, it's about what you are while it's running.
Yeah.
Probably.
Most likely.
100 attack speed, 50 move speed, but it costs 25% current HP to cast. I don't know. I feel like it's hard to use. But I guess it's, yeah, someone in chat's pointing out it's good for farming, right? If it's 6 seconds, don't know.
All right, Tidehunter. Ag Shard ability upgrade for Anchor Smash. Increases Anchor Smash damage by 90 and causes it to affect buildings. And reduces the cooldown by 1 second. This is unreal. This is very good. He can actually kill buildings. This is insane. This is like a top 5, probably.
The hell?
Does it reduce? It reduces damage, I'm guessing, to the towers as well, right?
Tidehunter. Let's see. I want to see how much damage it has already. So Anchor Smash gives your attack damage plus 180.
So
it's your attack damage by plus 270. And then it deals damage to towers and reduces their attack damage by 60 to 80, depending on talent.
So we have a new Tiny. Remember old Tiny with Ags? This guy hits 25. Your buildings are fucking dead, bro. God damn. What a beast. This is awesome. I love
when you hit
Tide,
25, you get a massive damage talent on this hero still, right?
Yeah, that's
200 damage. And you Anchor Smash that. Oh my god. Okay. Very good, I think. I don't... even the 1 second cooldown reduction is actually really meaningful because it's such a short cooldown spell. So it's a big percentage change. This is a good axe.
What is
the
good cooldown? Like
I think
3 seconds?
Is it 4? See. It's 4, yeah. And you can take a talent, so it goes down to 3.2. Because of CDR, but I think that's a 25 talent. Yeah, you would probably still take the damage. So
if you're going for that, yeah. So will we see mid tides more often? I feel like this. You cannot play this hero as an offlane anymore if you have this freaking thing. That's insane.
Dude, how fast can you take barracks with a 3 second cooldown Anchor Smash? Yeah. Seems good. Next.
I'm looking forward to this hero. Timbersaw. We have an Ag Shard ability, new ability, Flamethrower.
Literally Rumble.
Grants Flamethrower, releases a flame in the direction you are facing, lasts 7 seconds, applies a debuff that deals 75 damage per second and slows by 20% for 3 seconds, sets trees on fire that eventually die after 5 seconds, cooldown 15, mana cost 100. Very interesting. Why? Why would you want to burn your own trees?
Timbersaw hates trees. It's the lore. He just wants them to die.
Okay. So lore-wise, I understand it. Gameplay-wise, I don't.
I mean, it's hard to plan for, right? Because it takes 5 seconds to burn them down. But it can sometimes be useful to create a different path, right? That you don't have access to. In clusters of trees, sometimes you burn them down. You can unlock other...
I mean, I assume you can cast all your spells after you activate this, right? So you just go in and you're just burning everything as you
I suppose.
Timber Chain in.
But yeah, it's a good question why it has a 5 second delay on burning them down. Like if there's a balancing thing there, that it's too overpowered if they just got destroyed instantly.
I think they think it just looks cool.
Yeah, it does. I guess so. This is a good spell though, right? You get an extra ability that's cheap. It kills creep waves. It deals extra damage in fights. It has great synergy with Chakram because it even stacks the slow.
Mm-hmm.
This is very good. And Timber is one of the heroes that can actually a lot of the time afford to get luxury stuff because he gets 1 or 2 core items. And then in some games, there's these moments in games where you're like, okay, Timber is invincible the next 10 minutes. We're going to ignore him and kill his team. in all of those games, you can buy this item and be a beast when you pick it up. So
Right.
it's good.
Okay.
It's very good.
All right, this one's interesting. Tinker Scepter reworks. So the old one, I believe, was the laser that bounced.
Yep.
New one upgrades your laser into a shrink ray, causing it to have plus 400 cast range and reduces the enemy model size for some reason and current health values by 20%, which stacks. Laser bounces once on the furthest target up to 700 range from the primary target, prioritizing heroes. Very strange. And then the Ag Shard gives you a new ability called Defense Matrix. Grants Defensive Matrix. Targets an allied unit, applying a barrier to them that blocks the next 200 damage and provides 40% status resist. Barrier lasts up to 10 seconds or until the damage shield is consumed. Cast range 400, cooldown 30, mana cost 100. So this one makes a lot more sense. If you're in like the side of the map as Tinker, you don't want to get your blink canceled. Like that makes a lot of sense. I need the
Yeah, you can cast it on
the
yourself,
Scepter.
so that's important, right?
Yeah.
I think you're mostly going to be casting this on yourself because the cast range limitation is really big for Tinker. This hero wants to be away from everyone all the time in fights, so it's hard to use on teammates without jeopardizing your own life. Status resistance, 40% 200 damage block. It's good for sure. I think Tinker can often afford this. He gets a lot of gold. It's a luxury. The Shrink Ray, I don't know, 20% of current health value. It bounces once instead of the old one bounced like, what is it? I don't remember. Was it 4 times the other old one bounced or something? Was it indefinite? Shit,
So
I don't even remember.
they don't specifically say this, but I'm guessing it's still laser plus all of this, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I would assume. If not, then it's actually a nerf when the enemy heroes are low. So I
Right.
think it does. It's pure damage plus 20% of current health value.
This is one of the weirdest scepters I've seen. So I just have to
It
see
has
it.
to be really good late game when BKBs expire. Then 20% of a hero's health can be like 700, and I'm assuming it's pure. So, I mean, if you just cut their health values, then it is pure, right? You just remove the health.
All right, next.
It's good. Next.
Tiny. Ag Shards gives the new ability Craggy Exterior. It's a passive, if you don't remember, provides a 20% chance to stun the enemy for 1 second and deal 100 damage when a physical attack impacts your hero. Works against enemies within 400 range. Procs after an attack impacts and does not affect spell immune enemies. Okay.
Meh.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of missed it to a degree. I miss more the being able to hold a tree for the whole game, but that's just me, I guess. Don't like the new Tiny very much. Okay, moving on. Treant Protector. Ag Shards gives an upgrade to Nature's Guise, which causes Nature's Guise to root enemies upon attacking, roots them for 1 second, and deals a total of 200 damage. Lasts an extra second when attacking near a tree, cooldown of 10. So he had I don't know if it was exactly the same, but basically the same thing before. So they're just re-implementing it again, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Overgrowth now interrupts targets again. That's probably the biggest change.
So does it also deal 200 damage near a tree, or does it deal 400?
So he roots them for 1 second. It deals a total of 200 damage. Lasts an extra second. Well, it says it doesn't say 200 damage a second. It says a total of 200 damage. So it just sounds like
it looks like in the clip it's 200 total regardless. Okay. Don't think this is that good. Don't know. Not one of my favorites, at least. All right, next.
Okay. Troll Warlord Scepter rework. Thank Jesus. So his old Scepter it reduced the cooldown by 50. It was actually quite drastic. Cut it in half, essentially. But then you could cast it on enemies randomly and allies. But now Scepter causes ranged axes to dispel enemies and melee axes to dispel yourself. Reduces cooldown from 9 to 4 and mana cost by half. This sounds... Again, I don't know if you can buy it.
Wild.
This sounds really good, but do you buy a Scepter on Troll? Is it just a Roche item? And then the Ag Shard ability upgrades Battle Trance, causing Battle Trance now to give you a global aura that gives allied heroes, including yourself, 60 attack speed. So the old
that's
one
for the
in
duration of battle
addition.
trance, which is how is that?
So it's literally the old one plus your current one for yourself, at least.
Yeah, let's see. Battle trance duration is 6.5. So 6.5 seconds, you give 60 attack speed to your whole team. Very, very good in some strategies. Like you said, you give it to yourself too. Yeah, this is a good shard. Dude, that Scepter, man. That sounds wild, actually.
Yeah, sounds very
That
good.
is so good. You think
when
about
can
how
you
much people
buy it?
complain about Stormhammer Dispel. There's a 4-second cooldown Dispel. AoE, ground target,
Right.
that slows.
Yeah,
and then
but
you
you
can
don't.
dispel yourself every 4 seconds. Dude, this is fucking crazy good.
But do you buy it?
Yes, you buy this.
When? What
After
stage?
2 items, maybe.
Okay.
You can argue that in a lot of games, Troll doesn't need BKB anymore. Like, if he can dispel slows every 4 seconds for free, and then he can also dispel the enemy team when he goes on them so they can't Ghost Scepter him. Dude, this is so good. Isn't
I mean,
it?
this it just looks more quality of life as well. His old ult or his old
His old
Ags
ult
was
was
just
just fucking
unusable.
weird. Yeah, it was weird.
I mean, his ult is still the same, kind of, right? Hasn't really changed. But
And
you
you
have
also need to
more.
remember Agonime Scepter also gives stats. Like, it's not like it's a useless. You only get the effect. It's maybe we're getting a little bit too caught up in that because of all the shards, right? But
True.
you're not only buying this ability, you're buying all the attributes and the health and mana too. So I think
All right. Next,
it's good. I think it's
Tusk.
wild. All right, next.
Ag Shard ability gives you a new ability called Frozen Sigil. Summons a flying sigil that slows an enemy attacks by -30 and movement speed by 20% for enemies within 650 radius. Lasts 25 seconds, cooldown 30, mana costs 100. I'm sure Vici Gaming will be happy about this because they have one of the only abilities in the game with a fucking logo on it. I wonder if that still
It
works.
doesn't say whether this
actually.
can be destroyed.
Oh, that's true. Actually, you probably can't
It
even
probably
equip it.
works like the old one with 4 hits, right?
Yeah, actually, now that I think about the Vici thing, doesn't make any sense because you can't equip it anymore, right? Or maybe, God, I don't remember how that worked. Anyway,
Slows attack
unimportant.
30, move speed 20%. It's really good. If it can't be broken, it's crazy good. But I'm assuming it still can be broken.
Okay, next, Underlord Scepter rework. The old one, it was his passive as an aura, and half of it went to his teammates or some shit like that, right? Now, Dark Rift can be cast on allied heroes, reduces cast delay by 1 second and cooldown by 50 seconds. This feels like a very high level Ags
Yes,
for pro
it's a
games.
high skill item. Yep.
Being able to use on a hero just makes it so much easier to use. Obviously, the second extra as well. The Ags Shard ability upgrade is for Firestorm. Firestorm can be can be self-targeted. When used that way, the Firestorm follows you around, also causes Firestorm to heal you for 15% of the damage values, reduces cast point by half. This one's so weird.
That is indeed pretty strange.
He farms pretty well, though. I feel like this is definitely a shard he can pick up if he wants. But is it worth it? I don't know. 15%.
Just to clarify, there seems to be a little bit of confusion about what the scepter means. It just means that you can target allied heroes so that you teleport on top of an ally. It doesn't mean that you select them and put them somewhere else. It means you select you and everyone around you to go to them, like Boots of Travel level 2.
Yep.
So that's what it is. And then, yeah, this Firestorm, I think... I think it's pretty powerful that you can move the storm, right? That's the biggest part of this. I don't think the healing is that important. The cast point might be decent. It might feel amazing in the game to cast it in half the time. And
Yeah,
if
I'd
you have
to
the
go in
right
game and
itemization, you
get a
can
feel
follow
for it.
through with this. If you're on top of a hero, this is really good. You cast Firestorm yourself, you stay on them and keep hitting them. This is decent. But probably not wild tier.
Undying
Next.
Agshard ability upgrade for Decay increases decay radius by 100 and spawns a zombie around each hero target. So this in combination with Agonime Scepter, which I think is still the same, right? The 2-second decay, or sorry, the 10 strength decay.
Yeah.
That in conjunction, that's sounds kind of cool. Like one zombie can be pretty annoying to deal with in terms of slow.
It makes your hero way more impactful in fights when Tombstone is down. One of the problems that Undying has is Tombstone gets destroyed or the fight gets pulled away, and then you're a soul rip. And sometimes you can hit with your ult, but a lot of the times you get kited. This gives you a way of forcing the enemy team to stop and kill zombies. This is a really good one, I think, actually.
And it makes the zombie talents better.
Yes.
Wait, do they still have
and
zombie
Undying
talents?
is naturally tanky by using ult. So compared to other supports where you're like, should I buy my shard because I'm fragile and I can die? Undying always has this thing where he can technically buy anything because you pop ult Tombstone and then you buy whatever your team wants. Now you can buy something for yourself. I like this. I think it's strong.
That's cool.
20 minutes
Right.
in. Decent.
Ursa. Ag's shard upgrade for Fury swipes. Every 6th Fury swipe on a single target causes Ursa to get enraged for 1 second. Okay. You're going to tell me I'm wrong. This sounds awful. This sounds fucking horrendous. Tell me why I'm wrong.
So let's see, what does Enrage give exactly? 80% status, 50% status resistance, 80% damage reduction. Nothing else, right?
So
and
now tell me if I'm wrong
Dispel.
on this. Do you have to hit the target 6 times in a row, like a 6 stacks on one hero? That's what it means, right? It's not every
Yes.
6 hits, essentially.
It's on a single target. So let's say you hit one guy 3 times and another guy 2 times and then back to the first guy. I think the 6th stack on an individual guy will give you 1 second in range.
Okay. Okay. Is it good?
Yes, it is good. I don't know how good it is. I feel like it's hard to gauge right now, but you need to remember what this effectively does is if you're laying into a carry, every 6 seconds, every 6 hits, you dispel yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You dispel yourself and you get status resistance and damage reduction. And it's also good against Roshan a bit, at least.
Okay, this is one of those I need to see in game because
it's solid but
like,
not insane.
the way I'm thinking about, again, I can only think of my own pub level, but like hitting the same target consistently, like for 1,400 gold, just does not sound good on paper to me. But like I said, I could definitely be wrong. But,
right.
Okay. You'd buy it. Vengeful Spirit Scepter rework. So the old one, it feared enemies at the point. I never saw anybody purchase this on swap. It would fear enemies. Now, upon death, creates a strong illusion of you that can cast all of your spells and deals 100% damage and takes 100% damage. Illusion has 30% movement speed bonus. If the illusion is alive when you respawn, you will take its place. XP earned by your illusion is given to your hero. So most of this was already kind of in the game via the talent and at some point the Ags before that, except for respawning. That's new. And the XP, I think, is new as well, right?
You are literally better when you die. Think about that.
Oh, because of the movement speed bonus.
It's literally, you're literally
That's
better
true.
when you die.
Yeah.
So this is better in many ways than having an Aegis, and you have it all game after you buy it. Because there's no downside to dying. You get 30% move speed, you get all the experience. If you respawn, you come back there, or you can't use items. So that's the only thing. Good call, chat. You can't use items, but you can use all spells, full attack damage. If you don't have crucial items in your build, I think there's a way of building Venge Core here where you don't buy on-use items very much, and you focus on passive stats like Sanjin Yasha, Butterfly, Ags. And then you go in, you have this and a second life, and if you're close to dying on the illusion, you can buy back. Come back with full health on your hero too. That's wild, man.
I mean, I always love this one.
It actually feels fucking crazy good.
You've sold me even more on it. That sounds freaking awesome.
That is
Nether
so
Swap
good.
no longer has charges. I did not read this earlier.
Yeah, Venge got changed quite a lot, actually.
Goodness. Okay, the Ag Shard ability upgrades Wave of Terror. Wave of Terror now steals 25% of the enemy hero base damage and grants it to you as base damage for the debuff duration.
Base damage.
So, yeah.
Buy this against tiny guys, you're going to own.
Tiny, Morphling, Terrorblade.
Holy shit. Dude, this hero is going to be fucking amazing.
So this is all, it feels more core-centric, right?
It's more core-centric, but at the same time, so we skipped over some of Venge's changes, right? Because we don't talk about everything. But we can quickly highlight some things that changed that makes Venge better as a support too. 2 more int, more cast range on Magic Missile. Magic Missile is 50% faster. It went from 900 to 1350 speed. So the projectile is about as fast as E-Blade now. The old E-Blade even. Vengeance Aura gives base attack damage percentage 8, 16, 24, 32 instead of the attack and primary attribute things. And then the Nether Swap changes like you talked about. I think this hero could be a first pick, actually. I think it's a first pick of the patch because the aura is amazing, the scepter is amazing, it can be core and support, and both roles got buffed.
And the shard's amazing. And this is a hero that doesn't like back when when she was position 1, you wouldn't necessarily get like right click items all the time. Like a lot of it's just tanky, like Hurricane Pike, Ags. Like you get more tanky like S and Y, and then you go for some damage after that or something. So it's not like there's one prototypical way to build Venge as a position 1 anyway. Looking forward to that. Buenomancer, Ag Shard's ability upgrade for Venomous Gale causes Venomous Gale to summon 2 Plague Wards when it impacts an enemy hero, increases travel distance by 400. So this was an old talent.
Yeah.
I don't know when that was. Oh, it was just changed. Okay, now it's 100 attack range at 15. Okay. Viper, the Nether Toxin silences as a level 25 talent is no longer there. That's a huge deal. Now it's minus 11 seconds Nether Toxin cooldown. And the Ag Shard ability upgrades Poison Attack, which now also lowers armor by 1.5 per stack and increases the stacks by 2. What's
really good in some lineups?
What's max stacks for Poison Attack?
Yeah,
it's like 4. How many normally?
4 or 5.
Okay, that's really good. Then.
Ramping that up even more. It's strong. This is really strong.
Visage Scepter reworked. The old one just added a extra familiar. Now it grants you the ability Silent as the Grave, which turns you and familiars invisible and plus 25% movement speed, as well as upgrading your movement type to flying. When you or your familiars exit invisibility, you deal 30% bonus damage for 4 seconds, lasts 35 seconds, cooldown 45, mana cost 100. Wow.
This hero is...
Wow.
It's so good because Visage loves buying this item. Right? Like, it's one of the heroes in the game where buying Ags doesn't feel bad because you're so tanky with Gravekeeper, and the stats are good. And on top of that, the hero also got a 400 projectile speed buff this patch, which is big because it makes it a lot easier for you to get hits in fast and use your second spell. This hero is going to be a thing again, I'm pretty sure. And we haven't even looked at the shard. This is a really good Axe.
The shard upgrades the cloak, or the Gravekeeper's cloak, allows you to cast Gravekeeper's Cloak to turn into stone form. Restores up to 25% of your health. Cooldown 60. Mana cost 300. So, yeah.
Do you become... So the stone form means you're also untargetable and invulnerable, right?
Yeah.
Because stone form on the gargoyles does that. So you're basically just... For how long? It's the same as normal stone form, right? So that's like 4 seconds. So you drop just like your birds, you become invincible for 4 seconds, restore a quarter of your health. You stun like your birds too, because it's stone form. And yeah, that's a good shard.
Yep, I agree.
Dude, this hero is good, man.
You do lose 1 familiar, but I think you've gained more than that with all this.
Yeah, I think so too. This Axe is top tier. It's super good.
All right, Void Spirit. Ag Shard ability upgrade for Dissimulate adds a partial outer ring to Dissimulate, increases damage by 125. So you can see on this graphic here, you can...
Guess what the first thing I thought was when I saw the graphic? You're never going to guess it, but try. If you guess it, we're truly like hive mind.
Oh my goodness.
I'll give you 3 guesses. What was the first thing I thought of when I saw this, when he cast Dissimulate?
It looks like Mickey Mouse.
Nope.
Is it a being of some kind?
You can't get hints.
Super Meat Boy? I don't fucking know.
Not a bad guess, though.
Inbrew. Void of it.
Unbelievable. No, I thought of the Michelin Man.
Oh, how the... What the...
He has all of those rings, man.
No, that's fine. It's just, how would I ever guess that?
Because you know me so well.
Yeah,
okay, let's move on.
Jesus Christ. Warlock, the Ag Shard ability upgrade for Shadow Word.
I want to talk about this.
Who gives a shit anymore?
It's the Michelin Man. I don't think this Void Spirit one is that good, but maybe the 125 damage is actually a pretty big upgrade. So I take it back. It's good. Next.
Great analysis. I think this is shit, JK. It's great. Next. Agshard ability upgrade for Shadow Word on Warlock. It now provides plus 20 and minus 20% movement speed on allies/enemies. So in addition to upheaval, a lot to work with in terms of slow.
I think the ally one is way better.
I mean, it's something. Chasing a Warlock. Now he has something to do other than die.
I think okay, I'm assuming it means plus 20%, right? Not plus 20. It has to be percent on both of them. So
yes.
Casting 20% move speed on an allied hero for how long? Shadow Words last a fucking eternity. I think people are going to underestimate how good this is. How long does Shadow Word last? 12 seconds.
Holy shit.
You give an ally 20% move speed.
Yeah, that's okay.
really good. It's again, you always need to hold it up against what the hero has and what he does, right? This hero does so much with no items. So you can actually buy this at minute 20 and not feel bad that he doesn't have like other stuff.
Doesn't he want to go for Ag's Refresher before any of this? I mean, that's
but
lofty
that's
expectations,
thing, like,
I guess.
Exactly. Like in a game where you're a 5 Warlock and you're struggling, I feel like this is a nice value thing to get. I think it's decent.
Okay. Weaver.
Next.
Agshard ability upgrade for the Swarm. Causes the Swarm to latch onto and reveal invisible units. Causes Geminate attack to also launch an extra attack onto other enemies within 1200 range of the attack target that have beetles attached to them. Reduces the Swarm cooldown by 4 seconds. Okay, this one I didn't see either. Explain this second part where the Geminate.
So when you Geminate attack, you do a second attack on the target you're hitting. But what it does is it will just hit everyone who's attacked by the Swarm.
Okay.
For one hit.
Interesting.
This obviously scales really well when you become bigger. So I think this is one of those shards, because it scales with your attack damage, that becomes relevant later on in the game. I think it's decent, but Weaver really needs its gold. So you might get this late, I think.
Okay, Windrunner.
Something in between after 4th item or something.
Wind Ranger has been renamed to Windrunner, and JK. Agshard ability upgrade for Power Shot. Power Shot now becomes global, but after reaching its default range, it only affects heroes, so that way you can't push waves. Max of 1 hero. Impacted heroes will be killed if they are under 13% health after taking the impact damage. Kill threshold scales based on Power Shot channel duration. Wow. 13% health. So it's like this is actually more like a Luna from Han, actually. That's kind of insane.
Dude, this is a clip spell, you know? It's for making clips.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And for getting into highlight reels.
I wonder if this was
hitting
actually
this globally is so hard. If there's any sort of movement to either side, you're gonna miss. It's very narrow.
Yeah.
I don't know if the kill threshold being 13 is high enough. I think maybe it should be higher.
I think you'll be surprised. A Luna in Han,
do you buy this?
We'd see a lot of kills globally. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of clips, though. This is going to be a clip.
So it's 13% after impact damage. So the impact damage is the usual one. So let's say 20 minutes into the game, you probably one-shot a hero with Power Shot if they have like 25 to 30% health or less, right? Then it's a one-shot.
Right. Somebody's actually mentioning something I didn't think about.
Maybe
does this actually give does this give vision globally? That's pretty big if it does.
It gives vision too. Yeah. Not much though, but it does give some.
But it does feel weird to spend
all the time. Yeah, it's actually kind of nice. You know what? I take it back. It's better than I thought, but I still don't think this is one of the best ones.
If you're spending 1,400, the most value you're going to get is the vision, right? Because it feels like the snipes are not. I mean, that's.
People are saying it's AA old. It really isn't though. It can hit one hero only, and it's really hard to hit relatively comparative to AA. So much harder to hit. It's much, much worse.
All right. Winter Wyvern. Ag's Shard ability. Upgrade for Cold Embrace. When Cold Embrace ends, a Splinter Blast goes off at that location, hitting enemies within 1,200 range. I mean, it's solid. This is one of the Agonim's Labyrinth, I think, skills. But when I don't know, 1400 for Winter Wyvern. Is that good enough? I'm not sure.
I don't feel tempted to buy this when I read it. I feel like I would rather get big stuff. If I'm in that range of gold, I would rather have a utility item like Force Staff Glimmer or a Dagger
Mm-hmm.
or a Lens or work towards a Refresher.
All
I
right,
don't know
well,
if this...
if you're not interested in that, let me tell you about Witch Doctor's Agonime Shard ability upgrade.
Oh, I
It's a
love it. I was
new
laughing.
ability. You were telling me about this before. Voodoo Switcheroo, new ability. Turns you into a Death Ward for 2 seconds. Death Ward has minus 30 attack speed. You are hidden / invulnerable during this time. Cooldown 70, mana cost 250. So it's essentially just going invulnerable for a couple seconds and dealing some damage on the way. It's hilarious. Very cool.
Oh,
Love it.
actually, you know what? I want to quickly revisit Cold Embrace. So it was a really good call from chat. You can push a full wave. I didn't think about that aspect. You Cold Embrace one of your creeps and you Splinter Blast. Then the wave dies. That changes my mind a bit. Then it's better.
All right, he's buying that as well. He's
Good
picking
call.
up everything at this rate.
Maybe. I don't think it's an auto buy. Okay, Voodoo Switcheroo is funny. That's another clip shard, I think. I don't know how good this is. It's a phase shift that deals some damage. Decent, I guess. But funny as fuck. That's the main part. This is just funny.
All right, Wraithkin got a little bit
next.
reworked here. So reworked Mortal Strike. It's now a passive cooldown critical strike ability with a cooldown. So that's like the old CK, I believe, essentially.
Yeah.
Reworked Vampiric Aura, now called Vampiric Spirit, provides you with 34% lifesteal. It can be activated to summon skeletons. Skeletons also have the Vampiric Spirit ability. Scepter upgrade, I assume it still does the same thing where it brings people or allows them to live for 7 seconds longer, but now it buffs Wraith units with 75 attack speed and 25% movement speed. That's pretty fucking awesome.
To the Ags. Yeah.
And then the Ag Shard ability upgrade is for Reincarn. Causes it to not have a mana cost, so that's no longer a talent. And spawns 3 skeletons to attack each nearby enemy hero when Reincarnation is triggered, which...
Wow.
Wowee. I mean, there are talents to upgrade your skeletons that nobody takes.
Oh, it was not sarcastic. That sounds pretty good.
Oh, I literally thought it sounds awful to me.
No, I mean, think about fights, right? When Wraith King dies, there's usually a lot of heroes around. They all get hit by skeletons, and this is just this pest you have to deal with. They start running at you and hitting you. You kill them once, they come back and hit you again, right? Like, it's...
I guess with the 25 talent where you stun for free as well, yeah.
I don't think this is a bad shard.
Wow, the 25 talent. This is the same as CK, the old CK, minus 2 second Mortal Strike cooldown, right? That was definitely a CK 25
I guess so, yeah.
They literally just repurposed the skill for Wraith King. Very nice. Last but not least for heroes, after 4 fucking hours, Zeus. Agonime Shard ability upgrade for Static Field can now be cast to perform a Heavenly Jump, aka Mario, shocking the closest visible enemy, hero priority, within 2,000 range, dealing static field damage to them and reducing their movement speed by 100% for 2.5 seconds. That's a lot. If you were moving forward, you will jump towards that direction 450 distance, cooldowns 14, mana cost 100. I mean, now the real question is, can you use the Zeus taunt while jumping? That's what
they have to make you able to, right?
All right. I cannot gauge how good. I mean, it gives him some mobility, like something he is awful at. So that's good.
But that's only if you're... Wait.
I mean, this is less than a Force Staff, right? And it's kind of ish a Force Staff.
If you were moving forward... Okay, so you just need to be moving. You need to not be standing still, then you jump. So you can choose not to jump if you don't want to by stopping first and then casting. And if you're in any way moving, you jump, right?
I kind of like it.
Yes.
So Force Staff's what, like 2,200, right?
Yeah.
Roughly. This is less and it does more damage, or it does damage. Less utility, I suppose. You can't use it on allies or anything, but for here that has 0 mobility. I mean, that's kind of cool and hilarious.
It gives really good chase potential for your entire team because it's 2k range. So you can be way behind the fight and then just jump and shock someone and they can chase them down from the slow. It deals some damage, but like comparing it to Force Staff is a really good comparison for yourself, but you obviously lose out on the potential of using it on allies, right? Like this is only self-cast, so and you can't use it offensively either, like Force Staff. So it has a lot of less utility, but I think it's good.
All right.
Would buy. Next.
On to item changes. Because we've been going for 4 hours, Cinderin, I don't think we're going to do the small changes to items. We're going to do the major ones. And,
fine with that. Let's do it.
Fluffy Hat is a new item. It costs 250 gold and grants 125 health. Very cuddly.
So it gives half the health of Vitality Booster and costs less than a quarter. Just something to think about.
True.
It doesn't build into amazing stuff, but it's good. Next.
Falcon Blade is a new item. Requires Fluffy Hat, Sage's Mask, Blades of Attack, and a 225 gold recipe. Gives you 150 health, 1.6 mana regen, and 10 damage. And I did look. You cannot upgrade this to anything else. So this is what you're stuck with, essentially.
This item has seemed really popular so far.
I've been seeing
pubs.
everybody pick it up.
I don't know how good it is, but people are definitely working with it right now.
Okay. This one I've definitely seen as well. Orb of Corrosion. Requires Blightstone, Orb of Venom, and Fluffy Hat. I mean, it was only a matter of time before this happened. Provides 150 health, 13% or 4% slow for melee range. 3 magic DPS, 3 armor reduction, lasts for 3 seconds. Pretty quality.
Yeah, it's nice, but I don't think you're going to really see any 4s buy this. Because I don't think 4s want Blight, Orb, and a Hat. They want to get other stuff, so this is probably mainly a core item. I think. Carries like this. Lane dominating carries, Ursa Lifestealer, these kind of heroes, probably.
Witchblade requires a Blitz Knuckles, Chainmail, Robe of the Magi, and 600 gold recipe. Grants you 35 attack speed, 12 int, 6 armor, 300 projectile speed, and has a 9-second passive cooldown that procs on attacks, applying a curse for 3 seconds that slows by 25% and deals your int as damage every second. So before you give your analysis, Silencer is the first hero that comes to mind. Also, when I first read Witchblade, I'm like, oh my god, is this Harken's Blade? Sadly, it's not. I think this is the closest we're going to get to Harken's Blade. Because I don't think they put Harken's Blade and this in the game. But yeah, what do you think of this item?
I talked about earlier how Core Silencer is going to get better. This is an amazing item on that hero. I think it's pretty limited. Like, it's clearly an item that's meant for carry ints, right? But who plays carry int? Who uses this apart from Silencer as an int hero?
Puppet Master? I have to look at the list.
Furion?
Sure.
OD, maybe?
Quap?
Yeah.
Storm?
Storm. Yeah, I guess.
Lena?
I think the heroes I like it most instinctively on are Silencer and Nature's Prophet, actually. But it might be really good on OD as well. Storm, I'm not sure about. I don't know if he actually wants to buy this. I think he wants bigger items. He needs so much mana. This is expensive. It's 2,600 gold for 12 int on Storm.
Witchblade.
So I don't know. But yeah.
Okay.
Cool
next
item, though. I really like the concept.
Yep, I agree. Gleipnir. I had to look up how to pronounce that, by the way. Requires, I'm sure there's a Norse mythology or something behind
Gleipnir.
that, right? Okay. Well, the American way is Gleipnir. Requires Maelstrom.
I had to look up how to pronounce it. Proceeds to pronounce it. Fucking American.
Hey, dictionary.com for Americans, all right? Requires Maelstrom, Rod of Atos, and a 700 gold recipe. What a fucking random combo, by the way. Gives 30 damage, 20 int, 12 strength, 12 agility. Has the passive 160 damage chain lightning proc. And the active targets a 450 AoE area. Release an AoE area. That's interesting.
Area of effect area. Bottom of the moon.
Releasing a lightning strike onto each enemy unit, ensnaring them for 2 seconds, and dealing a chain lightning damage proc for 220 damage. Cast range 1100, mana cost 200.
Okay. What's a chain lightning proc?
It's the Maelstrom, the 160 damage chain lightning.
So if you hit 5 heroes with this, you get 5 Maelstrom procs.
Yep, sounds
Really?
like it. Sounds like it.
So if the enemy team is stacked up, you use Gleipnir and they just die. Or what? Like, is that... It doesn't bounce, does it?
Yeah, it might not bounce, although it doesn't say one way or the
It's
other.
just weird. It says Chain Lightning proc, but it's a guaranteed hit, right? It's not a chance.
Hmm.
It's weird to call it Chain Lightning if it doesn't bounce, but I think this doesn't bounce. I think the wording is just off.
We'd have to test it. I mean, what kind of heroes
Anyway.
would buy something like this? Heroes that buy
Uh,
Atos are like Underlord. I mean, if you go carry Underlord, I mean, that could be kind of cool, I guess.
Cool on Underlord for sure. Like, who wants to buy Atos except Underlord? Skywrath Mage, but he really doesn't want to buy Maelstrom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing about this item. There's a lot of heroes that there's very few heroes rather that use these two items or can.
Well, could you
People are
add
saying
it to
Viper.
somebody?
Viper decent. I like Viper.
Okay. What about
Core
heroes that
Hoodwink.
just
Yeah, Hoodwink. Hoodwink's nice.
Hoodwink? Heroes that buy
Maybe.
Maelstrom
Yeah.
that wouldn't mind having an Atos.
Yeah, there's not many of those, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Next item, Mage Slayer. This is like the cheesiest names. Requires Cloak, Blade of Alacrity, Claymore, and 600 gold recipe. Grants 20% magic resist, 20 agility, 20 damage, and causes your attacks to place a minus 35% spell amp debuff on enemy heroes lasting 4 seconds. So, very cool item. I actually like this item a lot because I hate Int here. But 35% spell damage debuff, and it's passive. So each time you attack, I'm assuming it just refreshes the duration, right?
Yeah.
Sounds pretty
It's
good.
expensive. Some of these new items sound really fun, but it's just hard to place them in the game right now. Like, what hero do you buy this on when? It's obviously great against certain heroes, like you said, but you always need to consider what you could buy instead, right?
True.
For the same gold. Don't know. It's decent, I think. Seems like a good item to have against Zeus in your team.
Yeah,
the guy who
for
carries it gets magic resist, and then they can place the spell and debuff on Zeus, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you can reach
Okay.
him.
Eternal Shroud requires Hood of Defiance, Voodoo Mask, and 1100 gold recipe. Grants 8.5 HP regen, 20% hero spell lifesteal, and 4% creep spell lifesteal. Can be activated to create a shield that absorbs up to 400 magical damage and converts it to mana. Lasts 12 seconds. Cooldown 60, mana cost 50. First hero I thought of was Lesh. Sounds
Lesh Timber.
absurd on Lesh. Okay, Timber, sure.
Int heroes that want to go in and want Hood, right?
Mm.
People are saying Medusa. I don't think Medusa wants to spend this much gold on this. I think she needs damage and farming speed. Bristleback? Possibly. Decent. He wants the spell lifesteal. He wants the... This is nutty on Bristle, isn't it? Isn't it like crazy on Bristle?
Oh, yeah. I completely forgot about that hero.
People
Yeah.
are saying Pudge, also good. Yeah.
Damn.
Definitely good on Pudge. This is
All right.
really fucking good on Bristle, I think.
Very cool.
All right.
Okay. I mean, he
Next.
buys Hood of Defiance and Voodoo Mask a lot of games anyway. Helm of the
Yeah,
Dominator.
exactly.
Wait, I thought this was... Wait, what? Okay, Helm of the Dominator can now be upgraded to level 2 by buying Ultimate Orb and a 1600 recipe. Allows converting Ancients, minimum health increased to 1800, increases stat, armor, HP regen bonuses from 666 to 28.8. Is this the new icon for Helm, or is this for level 2?
It's for level 2, I think.
Okay.
I don't think this item is going to get bought unless Dom gets buffed. Dom wasn't bought last patch. It didn't get any love, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Dom got buffed at all.
Not that I remember. I mean, yeah, I don't remember it being.
Don't know. This doesn't strike me as a good value. You pay 3,700 gold on top of a Dom to take one Ancient Creep.
Right.
Meh.
Yeah, I think that's been the reception I've heard as well. Okay, now on to the fucking cool ass items. There's 3 blink items. Overwhelming Blink requires Blink Dagger, Reaver, and a 1750 gold recipe. Grants you 25 strength, and when you land at a destination, all enemies in an 800 AoE have 50% movement slow and 50 attack slow for 6 seconds and take damage equal to 200 plus 100% of your strength. Centaur is the best. Of course, this is mega expensive, very late game oriented item, but fucking very cool. Very cool. We can just go over all three and then
Do
talk
all
about
three,
them.
yeah, exactly.
Swift Blink is the agility version of that, so it's the same everything except Eagle Song instead of Reaver. Grants you 25 agility, and when you land at a destination, you gain 30% phase movement speed and 40 damage and 40 attack speed for 6 seconds. And then the Int version with Mystic Staff grants you 25 Int, and when you land at a destination, gain minus 50% cast point and 25% ability cooldown reduction for 6 seconds. Does not affect items. So of the three, I just feel like Arcane Blink is just so much better on like specific heroes. Like Enigma comes to mind. Like that's absurdly powerful to the point where
The
I think this is
consensus
gonna
I've heard so far, I think, is that Arcane Blink is the best. But I feel like people are maybe overreacting to these items a little bit and overrating them. They cost 6,800 gold.
yeah,
So
true.
people are like, holy shit, this item on Enigma is amazing. But if you think about it, you could also just buy a dagger and an Octarine at almost the same price. And the cast point reduction, is that worth not having all the other Octarine benefits for? Maybe it
No,
is.
I mean
But
this
the
is a
build up
luxury
sucks.
after
Like,
that, right?
it's
But Enigma,
so
he
bad to
farms
buy.
really fast though, right? He'll get if you put him as position 3 or something, he'll farm super fast.
I think this is like all of these daggers are full inventory items, almost always. That's my feeling about them. That this is something that will help you end the game when you are wildly farmed. The cast point reduction is really cool on some heroes. It works on Shadow Fiend ulti, for example. It works on Epicenter. Now that got changed to cast point,
Mm-hmm.
so you can blink and then cast those spells really fast. But again, don't know. I genuinely don't think we'll be seeing these items much, but that will make it cool when we do.
Do
And
you
then
okay? How would you rank
my
them?
gut says Arcane Blink best, Overwhelming Blink second best, and Swift Blink third best.
Yeah,
Probably.
I agree. Okay, we agree. All right, and then the last big item that's been added is the Wind Waker. Requires Yule's Mystic Staff and 1,600 gold recipe. Grants 50 move speed, 6 mana regen, 35 int. Extends the Cyclone functionality to allow casting on allies, which is a
We
Han
Han
thing.
now.
When cast on yourself, you can move the tornado anywhere at a speed of 360. I tested this one out. It's decently fat. Like you could just go up go up to high ground or something like that. It's really cool. Very, very
Yeah.
cool item. Obviously, extremely expensive. But yeah, I
Super
like it a
late
lot.
game again.
Yeah.
And the primary thing you're paying for is ally targeting. You buy yourself a save that doesn't exist in the game until now. So
Yep.
that's the main thing. I think the
Indeed.
self-cast into move speed doesn't actually matter very much compared to the ally functionality, which is insanely good. But also mega expensive. So again, late game.
All right. Tell me what changes you want me to stop on. These recipe update. Is that enough for us to
Okay.
stop? You just give me the item.
Quickly, Octarine no longer gives magic resist, but now it uses Etherlands. So Octarine Core gives cast range now. It gives cast range, and it doesn't have spell lifesteal anymore. Spell lifesteal is now on Bloodstone, which also no longer gives magic resist. So Bloodstone is more expensive, but has some really crazy functionality. Now it also has spell lifesteal. Silver Edge got changed in the recipe. It uses Oblivion Staff instead of Echo Saber.
That makes me sad, by the way.
And then the recipe is more expensive, so that's a nerf, I think, overall. Unless I'm mistaken. I'm not sure if the bonuses are a bit better, but it's more... Wait, it's cheaper total. Hang on. Total cost is cheaper. But it no longer has the extra hit, right? Because it lost the Echo Saber. So it doesn't have the Echo Saber component anymore. It's cheaper and it does the break stuff, but it doesn't have the Echo Saber component. Ring of Tarask removed from the game. Pretty meh item, honestly. I always felt it was out of place. Happy to see it go. I don't think we needed it. Heart got buffed a lot. It no longer uses the ring. The recipe costs 250 more, but that's still way cheaper than the ring. And yeah, it gives less health, but it gives more strength, way more HP regen in fights. 1.6 from 1%. Its heart got a lot better. Holy Locket got better. It gets passive charges. Every 15 seconds you get a stick charge, basically, no matter what you're doing. And it uses Fluffy Hat and Headdress instead of Ring of Tarask, which I think is also a buff because Fluffy Hat is cheap and affordable in the start for a lot of heroes that could potentially want to build Locket. Satanic no longer has status resistance. Fuck yes. No longer has a recipe though,
Oh,
so
I
it's
missed that
cheaper
one.
and gives more damage. Sanja's status resist doesn't stack with other status resistance. That is good. Halberd got a bit better. in terms of cost, but a little bit worse in terms of its stats. S and Y more status resistance, Kai Assange more status resistance, Scotty slight nerf. Drum reworked for the 400th time this decade. Now it's 8 charges instead of 6, and now it requires a different recipe, and it gives a movement speed aura again.
All right, hold on. Why does it need
yeah.
charges? Am I the only one that thinks that it just should just have a cooldown? Like, what's the deal? Nobody ever fucking
think it's
purchases another drum.
I don't know if that's good. I like that there's one item that has that is charged based. I think it's cool that that's there. But
You're an idiot. Just like
I mean, what cooldown would you give it?
I'm sure you said the
What
same
cooldown do
thing
you
about
give this
Diffusal
item? Let's say it
Blade.
has no charges. What's the cooldown?
15 seconds.
That's fucking insane.
Okay, 60 seconds.
That's broken
whatever.
as fuck.
Whatever.
Is that
Make
broken?
it
I don't know.
something-
You have it every team fight for the whole game.
Okay,
if it has a
2
1-minute
minutes and
cooldown.
89,000 seconds. What doesn't matter. Whatever
That's
it is,
really
it's
bad.
balanced.
That is so bad. Your suggestions suck. I think we should give it charges. Next.
Diffusal Blade, just think of that, okay? No one has a problem with the way Diffusal Blade is. Okay, next.
Yeah, okay. But that's also because it makes sense. Okay. Boots of Travel, when you buy them, it sells all TP scrolls you have and give you a charge. So if you've had Trusty Shovel and you've dug up the whole world, you make money. That stonks right there. Mask of Madness lost some damage. Glimmer Cape no longer has Gloves of Haste and no longer gives attack speed. It has a recipe instead. Costs the same, but doesn't have attack speed anymore. So pretty big core nerf on that item. Blade Mail is more expensive. Javelin got a bit better. Monkey King Bar got a bit worse. Maelstrom got a bit better, so did Mjolnir, but they're probably still not that great. Rapier got nerfed. Happy about that. I think the item was too crazy. Blah, blah, blah. Hood is a lot cheaper, but has less magic resist. Pipe is more expensive to compensate, but Hood is seemingly a really good value item in a lot of games now. Mech got a lot cheaper. The recipe is 275 cheaper. And then Greaves got more expensive, so it uses Buckler. Mech uses Chainmail instead of Buckler. So it's a bit cheaper, at least. What is the final thing I want to talk about? Minor changes. Refresher Orb got a lot better. Way cheaper to use than Mana. Lower cooldown. Dagon got reworked again. Everyone loves a Dagon in 1 out of 1,000 games. Reaver, Eagle Song, and Mystic Staff all cost 2,800, so you don't need to remember your shopping list anymore. You just remember that it's 2.8 for all of them. Great. And then we have neutral items, Shannon.
That's the old price, right? It used to be 2,800 back in Dota 1. Am I wrong?
They had different prices, I think.
Really?
If they had the same price at any point, I think it was 2,700. You missed Solar Crest?
Oh, yeah, 2,700.
Hang on,
Yeah.
where is Solar Crest? Duration and cooldown increased from 7 to 12 on both Medallion and Solar.
Yeah, that's
so
big.
You can use it less frequently, but it lasts longer, which is both better and worse at the same time. It depends on the type of fight.
All right, now to our favorite topic, neutral items. They've basically, I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, the same amount of neutral items. They've just brought some in and taken some out.
They removed 14.
So for tier 1, we have the Fairy's Trinket, 100 health, 5% spell amp, reduces mana costs by 5%. I'll just do the 3, and then you can tell me if there's anything worth talking about. Chipped Vest grants 3.5 health regen and passively returns 26 damage to hero attackers and 13 to creep, so basically a mini blade mail. And Possessed Mask, 7 primary attribute points and 7% lifesteal.
Yeah.
And then what's cycled out is Mango Tree, Poor Man's Shield, and Iron Talon.
Thank God Iron Talon is gone.
Poor Man's Shield.
I honestly think removing these 3 items is completely justified. It's fair.
Any of these 3 tier 1s feel too strong, or any feelings?
I think Possessed Mask is really good on every carry. You get almost a Morbid Mask, and you get 7 Agi or Strength, whatever carry you are on this item. This is really, really good. I think it'll get nerfed. Fairy's Trinket, I think, sounds pretty fair overall. I think it's on average a fair item, probably. And then Chipped Vest is a situational item where some heroes really benefit, like Axe or Bristleback or Centaur, heroes that are beefy go in and want to get hit. Whereas for a lot of other heroes, this is really meh on a lot of heroes, right? Like literally no supports will want this. 3.5 HP, whoop the fuck and do, But yeah, that's fine. The items are good for different things, and I think they all interesting concepts, so that's fine.
Okay, and then
Right.
for balance for the tier 1s, Arcane Ring. Okay, we don't need to talk about these random ones. Oh,
We can
wait.
talk about
Ironwood Tree.
I wanted that
Active
change.
cooldown increased from 4 to 15. Get fucked, Timbersaw. Bitch.
Yep. All right.
Not that I really cared that much. Tier 2 items. All right, we've cycled out 2 and brought 2 new ones in. So Clumsy Net is out, and my favorite Vampire Fangs are out. Oh, God, why?
Did you like that item a lot?
On Pango, yeah, I love it. Everybody says I'm an idiot, but it feels so good. Quicksilver Amulet.
You got the new Possessed Mask, though.
I know, but the carry's going to take it, not Pango. That's the issue.
Just tell them you're the carry. They'll understand.
I try my best. Quicksilver Amulet, 30% attack animation and projectile speed, plus 5% movement speed, and plus 10 attack speed. If any of your abilities are on cooldown, you gain an additional 5% movement speed and 15 attack speed. So that doesn't mean it stacks, right? It's only if one ability.
Yeah.
Like if you have 2 abilities,
if
it
any
doesn't double it.
It's binary, either or.
Yeah. Okay, and then Bullwhip,
So
3 HP regen.
Yeah, you want to do both. Never mind. Go on.
It depends on how you want to do it, Synderen.
No, fine. Go on. Let's go.
Bullwhip, 3 HP regen and 3 mana regen can be cast on allies to grant them 16% movement speed for 5 seconds, or on enemies to slow them by 16% for 5 seconds. Cast range is 850, cooldown 12.
If you want to role play in Dota, this is your item. You take it on Coddle, and then you whip that Crystal Maiden. All right, let's talk about Quicksilver Amulet. So 10% move speed and 25 attack speed whenever you have anything on cooldown. And then the projectile and animation speed, I think, are less important because that's only a subset of heroes that even use that, right? Or attack animation, everyone uses that, actually. So screw that. I'm assuming that also works for melee heroes, right? So it's all animations.
Yeah, I'd
right?
have to see this. I mean, I assume you're correct on that, yeah, but I'm not sure.
I think so. Okay, so 10% move speed, 25 attack speed. How good is that for tier 2 item? I think this sounds really good. Maybe too good, we'll see. But I love the concept of something mattering that your abilities are on cooldown. I think that's a really good idea for a neutral item to have that caveat that this item is better if any of your spells are on cooldown. I like that. I think that's flavor. So, yeah. Good item. Bullwhip, I feel like it's more situational. I can't really... Like, the passive stats on it are not that great. The 3 mana region is nice. 3 health region is almost nothing. Can be cast on allies to grant them 16% move speed. Or
That's not
slow
situational.
16%.
A slow or
that
a
is not
speed
situational. Boost? The active is really good. Yeah, don't know. It's only a tier 2 item, so it's probably fine.
Did they change Essence Ring to be blue instead of green? Am I crazy? Is my monitor?
No, you're not crazy. I don't know if they changed it in game.
Okay. Tier 3 items. They have cycled out Repair Kit, thank God. Greater Fairy Fire, everybody hated it. And Craggy Coat, interesting. And in its place, we have the Elven Tunic. Grants 26 attack speed, 16% evasion, and 8% movement speed. Then we have Cloak of Flames. Grants 5 armor, 10% magic resistance, and a passive immolation aura, dealing 45 damage per second in a 400 AoE. Also, Ceremonial Robe grants 350 mana. Enemies in 1200 AoE have minus 10% status resist and minus 10% magic resist. That's cool. And then there's a 4th item because I forget something moved out. The telescope, it looks like. Grants 12% int and 100 cast range. Activate to push the target enemy 400 distance away from you. Cast range is 800, cooldown 30. So another cool item.
Do you think this is 12% int or 12 int and it's a typo?
Typo, yeah. There's no way.
I think so too. It's 12 int. I'm almost certain. But I think in the game it also says 12%, but I just don't think that's what it does. But I haven't checked it. If it is 12%, that's a super weird way of balancing or designing this item, because most heroes will... Like, when do you have over 100 int when you get a tier 3 item? Is this to make the scale into late game? In late game, people will replace it. It's weird. It should be a flat amount. If it is a percentage, I disagree with that, and it should be flat. Okay. Elven Tunic speaks for itself. Amazing for carries, right? It's a pretty self-explanatory item. Cloak of Flames, super good for tanky in-your-face heroes like Pudge, Centaur, Pangolier, any of these heroes that roam around inside the core of the fight. I love that item, by the way. It's one of my favorite neutral items in the game. I think Cloak of Flames, super
That
awesome.
icon looks fucking sick, by the way.
Yeah,
I need
and
to zoom in on that.
this is really nice. Ceremonial Robe, situational item on some heroes. I think Leshrac would like this perhaps, but he would also like a tanky item. I think if Leshrac could choose, he would take Cloak of Flames, but if he doesn't have it, Ceremonial Robe, it's nice to give minus magic resistance and stab resistance to enemies. It synergizes with your slows and stuns. And the headband is just a cool utility item for mainly 4s and 5s, I think.
Yeah.
Where you get to either protect yourself or your core with the pushback. I like that mechanic a lot. It's basically an opposite Force Staff, right? So that's cool.
And now there's, 100 cast range. It's not something to scoff at, especially when you stack it with other things. Which again,
True. Yeah.
over
Flat cast
time
range
they've
is
been
good.
adding more and more things, both in talents and items that are giving cast range.
Yeah.
But yeah, Telescope moved to tier 4, and the other one doesn't matter. All right, tier 4 items. So we have cycled out Magic Lamp, Witless Shako, which I think we agreed was quite possibly the
like
best
Shako.
tier 4.
I like
Prince's Knife, and my personal favorite, and I'm very sad, is Havoc Hammer. What the fuck? But to replace it,
so I think Princess Knife going is good. Didn't ever really like that.
yeah, I didn't like that one very much.
Lamp is fair to remove as well. Shako, I mean, if you had to remove 4 tier 4s, wasn't it these 4?
But Havoc Hammer,
Like whether you liked Havoc Hammer or not, from an objective standpoint of how applicable they are in the game, was Havoc Hammer one of the 4? I think the other 3 were. So
I'd have to see the list of the other neutral items.
But-
I can't remember tier 4s.
Yeah. That's fine.
Okay. Well, the new ones, we have the Penta-Edged Sword. It sounds a very League item right there.
It does.
Pentakill. Provides 45 damage, 80 melee attack range, and 20% chance to maim enemies, reducing their movement speed by 20% and attack speed by 60 for 3 seconds. So we got the old Sange back in the game, it looks like, with a shit ton of damage to go with it. Then we have Stormcrafter, which grants 4 mana regen. Zaps an enemy within 700 range of you every 3 seconds, dealing 200 damage and slowing by 40% for 0.3 seconds. Can be activated to Cyclone yourself for 0.75 seconds. Cooldown 25, mana cost 50. First thing I think of is Lesh again. Lesh feels
It's
like he's
wild
getting...
on Lesh.
I don't understand.
Holy
Like Lesh
shit.
is just like gotten so many buffs indirectly here. And then the third item is Trickster Cloak. Grants 20% evasion, 20% magic resist. Activate to become invisible for 6 seconds. Cooldown 25.
Question is what the fate time is on that. I haven't tested it yet, the Trickster Cloak. If this is instant, then it is like PA Ags Blur. Then it's sick, because then you can easily disjoint with this in fights. If it has a fate time, it's less good, but still, the other stats are very good. So, again, I think the item designs are pretty straightforward. Penta-Edged Sword is a carry item, primarily for melee. Stormcrafter is a scaling int hero primarily, but can be used on other heroes, I guess, because the Cyclone is very interesting. So you just have passive damage all the time. This is great on heroes that are in the fight. Again, Razor, Centaur, Pango, Pudge stereotype of heroes that are just in there, so that passive damage is always going off. And then the ability to Cyclone yourself is especially insane on Leshrac, because that gives you a secondary way of creating protection for yourself. He's one of the int heroes that goes in, but at the same time really needs to gauge whether he will live or not. Heroes like Pudge or Centaur, it's probably easier to find that balance, but yeah, this is a really good item on Lesh. Finally, the cloak. Cloak is a bit off for me. I feel like maybe it'll be changed a little bit. It seems a little strange.
Yeah, it
But
seems
we'll
like
see.
a random hodgepodge of things added to it.
Does.
Okay, so Telescope, like we said, was moved to a tier 4. Anything else of note? Not really. Very small nerfs
Yeah,
here.
it's minor stuff.
All right, tier 5 items. So cycled out are Woodland Striders. That's the one that made trees. So that's poor Tiny, basically. And Trident has been removed.
They removed Trident, finally.
A shit ton of status resist and all that good stuff. To replace it, probably the most hilarious tier 5 item that exists now, the Giant's Ring. Gives 40 strength, 60 movement speed, for whatever reason, 60% model size, and can walk over any terrain. When standing on top of an enemy, then 100 AoE, deals 100% of your strength per second. Let's just take these
Dude,
individually because they're too funny.
I've read this item 5 times and I still laugh. I don't know. It makes me laugh every time I read it. It's so
Dude,
fucking
I
absurd.
love this item.
This is
There's been
so
so many
funny.
like these centaur items that feel like they're just catered to him. Aye. Awesome.
Oh my god, it's so funny. Like, you just imagine this model size thing, you put this on an already big hero and it's huge and it's just starting to. It's walking fast too. You don't get slowed down.
Yeah.
You're like this fast monster just climbing over cliffs and trying to step on people. Fucking love it, dude. That is so funny. Whether it's balanced or not, I have no clue. But who cares? Nobody ever
Doesn't
gets
need
tier
to
5
be.
items.
That's not true. I've
Not true,
I've
actually,
had
but
that many
yeah.
times. All right, and then the second tier 5 item added was Book of Shadows, gives 12 stats, 400 night vision. Target an enemy, ally, or self, causes the target to become untargetable, but also silenced, muted, and disarmed for 4 seconds. Applies a basic dispel, cast range 700, cooldown 25.
I love this mechanic. I actually think we might get more of that in the future in some other form. We've had it once. We had it on Grimstroke. We had it on the original Grimstroke, if you remember. He had it for like a week or two. The first Inkswell did exactly this, if
Oh,
you remember.
Yeah, that's
So
right. It was
that is that
broken.
mechanic that they've reintroduced on a neutral item. He would put Inkswell on a guy and he couldn't attack, cast spells, or use items, but you could be targeted by AoE stuff. This is a really cool mechanic, and this item is amazing, I think. The play potential with something like this is incredible, and yeah, I like it. I think it's cool. Cool
I
item.
actually don't like it very much. I think this is
Is
my
that because
least
it doesn't
favorite.
make you big and tramply? We can't all have that item. You can
This
only
is
have
my
one of them.
least. I really feel like this is my least favorite tier 5 item right now. I will have to see this in
I
game
think
to
my
make a
least
full
favorite tier 5
assessment.
item is still Book of the Dead, but we'll get there.
Oh, that's true.
Probably.
I mean, Book of the Dead, I just forget as a tier 5 item sometimes.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
let's see
is
if there's
very forgettable indeed.
any noticeable balance changes here. Ex
Seer
Machina,
Stone.
45 cooldown to 30. Seer Stone now has an active that reveals an 800 area of the map for 5 seconds. Enemies can see the areas revealed. 70
This
second
is
cooldown.
really, really cool.
I'm surprised they even
I don't
needs
know.
to buff Seer Stone. It's actually such a good item.
We were so fundamentally in disagreement about this item. I think it's the item neutral and we disagreed about the most. I thought Seer Stone was not good enough. So I'm happy to see it buffed. I don't know if this is the way to do it, but I thought that item wasn't good enough.
I'm definitely biased because of Pog, right? It's a smaller map, so having vision, the night vision and the cast range is ridiculous. But it's like beyond broken. Anyway. Force boots, nothing. Oh, now a unit target ability with 750 cast range. Okay, so
other people. That's really big.
Yeah, that is good. Book of the Dead, bonus health increased from 50% to 100%. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Bonus health of what? The creeps?
Yeah, the books have 50% more health than Necro 3s. Now they have 100% more health than Necro 3s, but it's still Book of the Dead.
But you get it's three Necros with two times HP.
Two sets.
2 sets. What if it was 3, Syndrin?
I think it should be 10 sets.
Okay.
And then they should have trample and grow bigger every 5 seconds.
I was thinking they add the Lycan Wolf with the Ags into this as well. Just the one random wolf walking around.
Book of the Dead and Wolf.
Mirror Shield, stats reduced from 20 to 16. And Stygian Desolator, bonus attack damage reduced from 75 to 60. Okay, so that leaves us with the general updates.
Such a small section, though, for this patch.
We'll talk about that as we wrap up here, but the game now starts at nighttime and turns to day once creeps spawn. Interesting. Is that a buff or a nerf to Night Stalker? Because night ends up coming a little bit later, right? Or does it not really matter
you
that
could
much?
technically, I thought about it. You could technically skill Hunter in the night level 1, and then you can walk out to rune fights and have it until the rune spawns, and then you're a creep. Or you can have Void. I still think you'd probably rather have Void most of the time. But yeah, his Void is better because it's nighttime in the first fight, right? The main thing about this is your ability to place wards and your ability to invade areas in the start of the game to do stuff to counter the opposing team is way more likely now. Before, it was so hard to invade. People could hold their own cliffs and get vision. Now we're going to get some cooler plays with like smokes, rune stealing, placing wards against jungle, all this kind of stuff. So I think it's fine. I wasn't really very much for or against this. I was kind of, since I wasn't really against it, I think it's fine.
Okay. Anything else in here that you think is worth mentioning?
Neutral creeps no longer increase their bounty over the course of the game, means gold gets slowed down. Neutral stack bonus gold also gets slowed down. So the jungle is worse, flat out, just worse. Easier to stack Radiant Ancients is a balancing thing. It was way easier for the Dire than the Radiant to stack. And then there's some quality of life stuff, rearranging the shop. Items get placed into the slot of their component that has the most similar active effect. I think a lot of people will really be happy with this. Like whenever you build your wand out of a stick, it would place in based on slot, not based on where the stick was, right?
Yeah.
It just goes
Very
into
annoying.
the stick slot,
Very
etc.
annoying.
So this is nice. And then finally, some neutral units balance. I don't think this is major. I guess the biggest thing is the ancients have less magic resistance, so it's easier for the int heroes to farm them.
Well,
And then the creeps that I find it interesting that the neutral creeps that got nerfed did not include Ice Ogre. It was the Ghost, the Wolf, and that's it. I think everything else got either unchanged or buffed.
So the Thunderhide Slam got buffed pretty significantly. That was
actually the dragon
felt
got
like
nerfed.
such a worthless ability before.
Yeah,
what was
that is true.
There was something that had to do with ancient creeps in this patch. What was it that I forgot about already? Because that technically matters here.
With what, sorry?
Something in the patch buffed something with ancient creeps being able to use them or something.
Helm of the Dominator, level 2?
Yeah, that's one. I think there was a second one as well. Okay, well, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is patch 8.0, otherwise known as 7.28 for some fucking reason. What do you think, Cinder? So overall, new hero, obviously, balance changes for the most part are not drastic. I think that's what a lot of people were hoping for, so that is not something they were expecting necessarily, but we did get a shit ton of content with the new Ags shards that you can buy for 1,400 gold.
Mm-hmm.
No map changes. Obviously, a lot of new items and item changes as well. How'd you like this patch?
I mean, I've played 3 or 4 games last night so far, so very little experience. But just from reading it, my first reaction was, this sounds like fun, right? And that's, you want that to be the first reaction that people have. So I think a lot of people will agree with that. They see this, they're like, wow, there's so much to explore, you know? A big part of the joy of playing this game over other games is the complexity and the crazy amount of things that you can pull off and that people discover over months and months of playing. There's always something new to learn. This patch has so much depth. It's crazy. So that's really awesome. We talked about in the start of the show, for the new players, it's more complexity. But hopefully for newer players, there's also more fun in feeling like they have this like whole world of choice. Hopefully it's not overwhelming, but rather it's just funny to find some stuff that you like. Guess a little bit disappointed there were no map changes whatsoever. I think we could have had a little bit of a layout change or possibly some change of fundamental mechanics like outposts or glyph or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And towers, I think towers could have been changed a bit, especially the defensive safe lane aura or the aura on all towers with regen and armor, but it's okay. And apart from that, I disagree with you saying that this is a small balance change. I think there's so much going on. Like, there's.
Well, let me rephrase.
It's huge how heroes got changed.
So,
the ones that needed it got hit hard, I think. Many of them.
I mean, when I'm not saying I'm disappointed. I'm just saying what I'm expecting from a balanced patch after this much time is a lot more changes to the heroes themselves, as opposed to most of the
Like,
changes are Ag shards. Most
half
of
the
them.
heroes have like 5 lines of skill changes.
Yeah, but if
Or
you go back
talents,
to like bigger patches where they actually changed a lot more stuff, including maps, like you'd see a shit ton more lines. I'm not complaining. I'm just
for some heroes.
mentioning that as
I
a
think
fact.
it's a good balance. I personally think they've done a good job with changing heroes a good amount without ruining their identity.
Yeah, for me,
I do think. But like some heroes, I agree. Some heroes got maybe no changes or very few that could have had more. But I think the ones that were like the glaringly OP heroes of the last patch have all been hit. With maybe the exception of Morphling for some reason.
right.
But yeah.
Yeah, for me, overall, patch is a resounding success. Obviously, anything to do with Agonime Scepter, I'm going to be a huge fan of. I think like the fact that they had to do this for every single hero is just a monumental effort. Obviously,
Yeah, it's so much effort.
some of them were just talent, old talents that they just restructured for this or repurposed for it, or old skills like Tusk bringing his fucking frozen sigil back. But a lot of the abilities that you get via this shard make the game super interesting. So definitely a huge fan. And see what else. The items themselves, we'll just have to wait and see what kind of impact they end up having. Especially like these ones that everybody's talking about, like the blink daggers, but let's see if we even see them in game often at all.
Yeah, they're going to be rare, I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, great. The one thing I will say that I'm sad about is, well, first of all, the new hero looks really cool based on what I've seen in actual gameplay. Looks like it'll be a fun hero to watch, play, and cast. But if there was ever going to be a patch to have Agonime himself come out, this would have been it. So I think that I can officially say that I was wrong, that Agonime would be a hero, which I am really surprised by the way.
I mean, it could still be a thing.
I mean, in theory, yes, but like if any patch you're going to do, it's going to be when you introduce Agonime shards, right? So,
unless you make a lore event out of it somewhere down the line that he's coming back to claim his shards or something.
And then shards are just deleted from the game. Yeah, they're definitely expecting that to happen. Okay.
No,
fair enough,
he's just angry at heroes and wants their shards. He has a spell where he can steal their shard for a time or something. Who knows?
Oh, good, clean stuff. Okay. That brings us to the end. Thank you for sticking with us in this 2-part series. Cinderin, you
5 hours, and we skipped over a lot of stuff. Like this,
we
patch
skipped
is so
over a lot.
huge.
And the last time we did this, you abandoned me halfway through, and Slacks had to take over. So thank you for not doing that to me this time.
I don't even remember why I had to go, but I did. I don't remember why.
It must not have been important if you don't remember.
There was a very good reason I would not leave you.
Well, I can guarantee you it wasn't to watch In Bruges. Well, speaking of In Bruges, have you seen it, Cinderin?
No.
All right, thanks, guys.
I've been busy
thanks
with
for
the patch.
watching.
Promise
Really
I'll watch it sometime.
Maybe if they implement it in the client, I can email Valve potentially to get that.
The splash screen, you boot up the game in Bruges.
Maybe one day.
Dude, holy shit. If they did that because of us, I'm down. I'll watch.
Yeah, I'll bet you would. All right, until next time, guys. We'll be back. I think, are we doing a normal episode?
That's the plan,
The normal time? Yeah, that's the plan.
Probably.
So, until next time, Suns Fan Sinners signing out. Goodbye.
Play Dota.
We say things that don't mean anything, but thanks for listening. Yeah.